What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the 19th episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. As always, I am your titular host, Darren, joined today by Ben.
Hello.
Carlito.
Hello.
And Gary.
Hello.
I love it when I can start the list of people with Ben and end it with Gary. It's just like, that's my jam, man. If I can get that, it's like when you're playing Monster Hunter, it's been like 30 seconds that I'm talking about Monster Hunter, but it's like when you're playing Monster Hunter and you're working towards that combo, and you get the combo, and you get the last hit in, and you smack the cunt in the face, and you just feel like you are the most powerful human being on the planet. That's like that, except I'm just introducing my friends to a podcast.
Not to immediately sidetrack, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm raging they didn't release that on PC. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point. But,
it's out in October, I think.
Oh,
it's coming out. It's coming out. They're porting it to PC, but it's going to be shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Just have a feeling it's going to be shit.
It's Capcom, innit? They can't really do PC ports very well.
Yeah.
Let
me put the controller in. Oh wait, ha.
Yeah.
It's not really their thing.
Some people at work start calling me Carlito. You know, I don't know where they got it from.
Really?
Well, it's just a thing. It's like your name, but it's like a Spanish.
It's either Carlito or Carluccio.
Hispanic thing to it.
Carluccio.
Yeah, Carluccio. Oh God, that's changed my life.
I like that one. Yeah.
That's the coffee place.
It is a coffee place, but I never thought of calling you that until now. So you've given me another option to torment you with. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Not bad.
I feel like sometimes we only speak to each other now when we're podcasting. Like I feel like I haven't spoken to any of you guys properly in a while.
It's definitely the most like long discussion we ever have, whether through like messenger groups or whatever. If we're like on voice lobbies or whatever, this is actually the time we speak the most. So regardless of even if we were talking or communicating,
I would be happy to do this podcast if no one listened to it, just because it's an excuse to talk.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, Darren, next week you'll be able to talk to me over Steam.
Oh, well, we'll be using Discord, but you're getting
Discord,
Discord. You're getting a PC next week, is what you're saying, Carl.
Yeah.
You ain't getting it next week. Fuck off.
And are you going to build it? Like, do you know what you're doing? Are you going to be able to like jump in there and build it all yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I counted it up one time. I've built like 10 PCs in my day.
See, I've only done like 2. I'd like to do another one.
The thing is, I've done it before, but back then you had to have fucking soldering irons and thermal paste and all this shit. Now it's just fucking plug and play.
Now it's just like plug what fits into the slot. Like that's it.
It's color coded.
Like, if it doesn't fit in there, if it doesn't fit, it's not meant to be there. Like it's pretty straightforward.
Like, a bit like anal.
The biggest trouble I had was getting like Windows installed, because we were obviously, we're not sponsored, so I can say this. We weren't necessarily installing Windows the legal way. And that was the biggest problem we had, was that we had it on like this shitty USB stick, and we were like, why won't it like detect there's a USB stick when I'm trying to install an operating system?
Yeah, when I was building my PC, I was like, nah, fuck it, I won't get a CD drive. I never use CDs, never use discs. No, don't need it.
Oh yeah.
And then I go to put it together, open all the boxes, about 6 CDs, and I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah. Didn't we like get a USB one?
Yeah. So I set it up to run off my motherboard, which obviously has the drivers already in it. Then got a USB stick, went to the websites of all the companies for all the components I bought, downloaded all the drivers, installed them via USB, and then installed them like
I remember
one
that.
at a time.
We had spent so long building your PC, and it was such like an anticlimactic
because it was like
way to end the build. Like
there is a chance that I might get a pre-built one, mainly because the graphic card prices are not really coming down at the moment.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I've seen that recently, like a trend with pre-built ones just being straight up cheaper than building your own one. It's like, because that's never been a thing before.
You can get like a 1070 Ti model for about £100 more than the one I'm building with the 1060.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that ethically.
Yeah, like it feels wrong, but it's cheaper.
Ethically,
I feel like
it's
I
cheaper.
feel like you're dirty though.
You know, we haven't discussed.
What?
We haven't discussed topics for today.
Yeah, we have.
Have we?
No.
I mean, I know we've got Guardians of the Galaxy on.
I think we immediately
Stay
sidetracked.
tuned.
I could have sworn you like messaged us, Ben, and you were like, "Okay, topics for the podcast."
No, it was me. That was me. I mentioned it.
It was you, Carl.
Was that you?
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Carl.
I can't remember now.
Oh, wow, great.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about what games we've been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
because it's been a while. Although I've only been playing one thing.
Me too.
And I'll talk about that if you ask, but I'm trying desperately not to bring it up in every conversation I have. It's a struggle, really. Like, I'm at work and people are like, how was your weekend? I'm like, let me tell you about the difference in the moveset the Black Diablos has over the regular Diablos. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, fine.
And you're just wide-eyed and nodding and smiling, going, yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Exactly.
feel you. Anytime somebody like it's like, oh, how you doing? It's like, oh man, had a really bad day at Overwatch, and they're like, what? It's like, yeah, no, sorry, I'm
See,
good.
I never talk about games at work. I think there's one guy who recently got my username, and then I deleted him because I was a bit not ashamed, but I just don't want them to know that all I do on an evening is sometimes just play games.
They
Ben,
just start calling you Junior.
I saw you on PSN yesterday. It was like you haven't logged into PSN in like 3 days.
Yeah, I know, I've been a busy man. Busy man. Stay
very busy.
tuned for news.
Carl, what games have you been playing?
Cool. Darren,
No,
have you been playing Monster Hunter?
I don't really know. Not a lot.
Not Monster Hunter, anyway.
Rocket League.
No,
I tell you
not
what,
a lot.
we've been having a blinding session in Rocket League.
Oh yeah, we've been fucking pounding the fuck out of
Have
everyone.
we ever spent much time talking about Rocket League on this podcast? Because it's a game we all play.
It's our staple, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's
like
just not a lot
3
to
years
say about
later.
it, is there? It's like you kick a ball with a car, so not really kick a ball, I guess.
Just bump it around, yeah. We had a day where I think we might have lost one, but some of the things we were doing purely by fluke, and it was some of our best
Was it
games
fluke
ever.
or was it telepathy? Like, did you just have you that understanding?
That's how we do it, yeah, because we just played together so long now.
Yeah, I know how Carl behaves. Carl knows how I
really
behave.
good.
I know how Carl behaves. He just misses all of his shots.
He's in the other half of the pitch all the time. Like 100% of the time is in their half of the pitch.
Gary, you were never a big fan of Rocket League, am I right in saying?
So I liked it at the start, and I think me and Cahill started playing a bunch of it. I don't know. It's just never really had that appeal for me. I didn't want to go grind it. I didn't want to really improve and learn all these like crazy shots. I just, I just kind of went off it after a while. It's weird.
Yeah, I've played Rocket League in some capacity. Never really got down with the whole like boosting in the air and
The aerial
effectively flying. Like I never get into the aerial
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I mean. I didn't really grind the the really difficult moves, the ones that kind of take you to the next level, if you want.
I just didn't care enough, honestly. Like
It is a good laugh when you've got a match where there's some capable players in there and they're just flying around in the air. You can undo them quite quickly just by keeping the ball on the floor. But some of the stuff you see is just amazing sometimes. It's like somebody has gone to the effort of mastering how to boost, how to do the aerials, all the geometrics of the pitch, the exact points where they've got to hit it, and it just goes straight for the goal. There's sometimes where we've just been torn apart, just outclassed. But for the past, not past 2 days, but the past 2 days we've played, we just pounded. I think we lost 1 or 2 games out of about 20.
Yeah,
Which is probably some of the best we've ever played.
The thing is, I only play for fun. I don't really care about the grading or the ranking on it or anything like that. I just like to have fun. I don't watch all these fucking esports and shit like that.
No, you don't give a shit.
that
about
being said,
ranking.
actually, that's one thing I wanted to mention about Rocket League is when I first saw it, I thought that this is the most I've totally blanked on the word.
Esports ready.
Esports
Not
centric.
esports ready, but easy to get into.
Okay.
Accessible. It's the most accessible game I've ever seen for an esports thing. Because at the end of the day, you're 3v3 or 2v2 and you're just hitting a ball. Like if you're watching Counter-Strike and they're like, oh my god, he's peeking the suicide, he's peeking, and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And you don't know the maps. I watched professional Overwatch. I was someone who was playing Overwatch at the time, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Is this the attackers or the defenders?
Yeah.
Who the fuck? What is happening? I can understand the game, but like, it was just difficult to like, just in the moment, understand what exactly was happening.
It was hard.
Rocket League is blue versus orange. You're knocking shit into a goal. And I was like, this is the game that like people will be able to just like. If my dad came in and watched esports, he'd be like, okay, so it's football, they're cars, it's one color versus the other color. I understand, I can enjoy it.
You immediately understand what's going on. It's like, right, well, it's soccer, but cars.
Yeah.
Exactly. When you watch it, because I've never watched it, do they have like a fixed camera for like the spectators? like
But
above the
they
pitch.
change it around, so they'll
Yeah.
they'll
would change it
follow.
around.
They have like I'd say maybe 3 spectators for like a Rocket League match. That would be my guess based on like the amount of spectators they would have for like an Overwatch match or like a CS match or whatever. Like say Overwatch, like there's literally a room full of people that are doing the
That,
casting and the camera work.
that got really old for me really quick to Overwatch. I mean, I liked the beta at first when I was playing that. And when I started playing the game, I thought, yeah, this is great. But then everyone just fucking started pretending they're a fucking pro gamer. Oh, you don't. I don't want you to be playing as Hanzo. I want you to be playing as this character. I'm like,
Because Hanzo's a fucking dickhead.
Yeah,
If you
so-
play as Hanzo, you're
why?
a scumbag.
why? Because I'm fucking
'Cause
killing
he's shit.
people and we're winning.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well,
No.
we were.
I don't know, Carl. You're Hanzo, like.
You two are locking horns today.
Still winning.
No, I
Yeah.
love Carl. I love Carl. I just love winding him up as well.
It's so
But-
easy. It's like a
You know,
light
it's like-
switch.
But
It's
Hanzo,
like, I played for the game.
I would play
Don't
with
fucking tell me how to
Gary,
play
and some
my
guy
game.
picks Hanzo, and I'm like, oh, can we just exit this lobby, like?
Why?
Because you're like, okay, let me go and attack a point with a character that cannot actually push a point and just hangs back and just plays for headshots and then misses 99% of the time with the people.
And that was a good shot. I was getting really fucking mad at shots.
Yeah,
Fucking
but
mad.
I mean, like realistically, you're probably playing at a relatively low level. So if you start going
Yeah,
up
Carl.
levels, you become so ineffective that it's like, okay, you need to switch. You need to play something else so we can do anything in this game.
It was either that or Reinhardt
It's,
that was using.
but well, Reinhardt's much better. But the point
Yeah.
is, in Overwatch, right? If you are hanging back and trying to get headshots on a high rank, and then your teammates are pushing, right? Then they've got 5v6, and if you're in like any sort of a high rank, if you're 5v6, you lose.
Yeah, like it's great if you kill 3 people. Then it's like cool, 3v6, easy. But
Yeah.
if you're just sitting back with and it's super hard on your team.
Oh no, I get right stuck into the mix. I fucking go forward.
That's a bad
Reinhardt.
idea,
Playing-
Hanzo.
then you're playing Hanzo wrong. Then. Anyway,
Anyway,
let's
I
not
had
get into
fun.
it.
I had
'cause
fun.
I haven't played Overwatch in quite a while, and I'm getting triggered in this conversation. Like I can feel myself going.
Overwatch.
So I've been
Fuck
playing
Hanzo.
Fuck Jeff
GTA,
Kaplan.
GTA 5 again, and I've been playing on a solo public session, which means you limit your MTU number so that you can. It's difficult to get match made with anyone else in the game world because of the packet data or some shit like that. But anyway, it basically means that you can run all your businesses, do all your work without getting interrupted, which is actually quite nice because I've now got a vehicle warehouse in GTA, and I'm just playing Gone in 60 seconds. It's great. I get a car order. I go pick it up, steal it. There's loads of little different dynamics that they've built into the game. So you can either be stealing it from a photo shoot, and it's a really top end car, and there's security guard in it, so you got to steal that. Steal it from a rich guy's house. He's having a pool party, or it's a guy who's been pulled over by the police, and you got to nick the car while he's getting pulled over.
Oh, that's a kick in the balls, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great,
Get pulled
especially when
over
you
and somebody steals a
especially
car.
when you kill the police first, then you kill him, and then and then you drag his corpse.
That's definitely a kick in the balls.
But yeah, it's good fun. It's just uninterrupted, no salt, no toxicity, just straight in, get the car. I spent about 1.5 million, 1.3 million on the vehicle warehouse, and I've made 1 million back already, and I've had it 2 weeks. Played it about 5 days.
Nice.
So it's a money maker, but it's just good fun being in it by yourself. And you can sometimes get a friend in there with you. But when you're in the middle of a job, they can sometimes get kicked as you're selling a couple of cars or as you're selling your wares, if you like, and then they miss out because you still have to complete the job before you can invite them back. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But
Okay.
the two of you can do your own CEO stuff in the same instance. And
And that's because you're limiting your data packet flow or
Yes.
whatever the fuck you're talking about.
to
so
the
they
point
could just
where
get
you're not
kicked.
match made with anybody else.
So basically, you're playing an online game solo just so you can have a bit of peace of mind.
Basically, yeah, it's guaranteed because I can't play 6 hours a day. If I could, I'd probably enjoy the challenge of trying to make it successful while 29 other players try and shoot me out the sky. But I've done the grind up to this point, and I've got this stuff, and I don't want to waste an hour or two that I have in an evening or a weekend being completely unsuccessful, having no fun at all, feeling like I've made no progress. That's not enjoyable to me. So it's guaranteed progress, which is nice. Still a challenge because of the mechanics that are involved in doing each mission. But you don't have people who are just targeting you on purpose to disrupt your day, which is fine if there's 4 of you in a crew and there's 30 of you and you've got a good 4 or 5 hour session ahead of you. It's a good laugh. We have a lot of fun. But sometimes you just want to make some money.
Gotta get that
I
dollar.
can respect that.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
It's a nice little tactic. If you just want to save for a car, you go in, you do 5 or 6 cars, you could buy that car. That's an hour's work. One of these new cars in GTA. But it's still good fun.
I wish you could do something like that with Elder Scrolls Online PvP, because you got Cyrodiil as the full map, and you can still do quests in there and collect all the bonus items and shit. But you got everyone else fucking playing it wanting to kill you. If you could play that solo as well. Yeah, because they're all like fucking max level. And they're running by, they spot you, like, right, there we go, let's fuck him. And they do.
Just ruin his day.
Yeah, I'm like, because it's massive as well, you can't fucking fast travel unless you've unlocked the waypoints for it. I spend like fucking 20 minutes on my fucking horse, riding across the fucking map, just to get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I bet if there was a nice lady on the other side of the map and you were running 20 minutes just to get fucked, you'd be
yeah, that'd be a different story.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, what's this nice lady metaphor? And I was like, oh, it's not a metaphor. He just means
yeah. If it was the really real world, that'd be different. Ride on my fucking horse.
Really real world.
Are you the type of guys? I don't want this to turn into an entire topic, but are you the type of guys that if you can have sex with a character in a video game, you've never role played as hard. You're like, I need to get Shepard his hold. Like, he just need to fuck this bald head tattoo psychic woman, or Geralt needs to get his fuck on. Like, and suddenly you're like, I'm in. Like, I didn't care about finding that Siri woman, whatever. It's like, if I can get my fuck on, I'm getting my fuck on. Because I am definitely that type of guy. I'm like, I'm gonna have sex with this woman if there's any chance like that.
It depends on the game. Yeah, I mean, in Witcher 3, I went with Triss. And then I turned Jennifer down. But then when you got the chance, well, I'm not going to spoil it because Ben hasn't played it all yet.
Yeah,
it's how long now? Like, come on.
I'm purposely holding off for this HDR patch that isn't.
Yeah, but fucking 3 years ago when you got it, there was no fucking such thing.
I never got it 3 years ago.
Yeah, because it came out 3 years ago. You got it in May 2015. Shut up.
Oh yeah, here we go. Of course, he knows.
Carl with his dates.
I think Carl is Jarvis.
Maybe.
Carl is Vision.
Carlvis? No,
he's
really.
Not very Paul Bettany like, though, is he really?
No.
Like, they're kind of the opposite archetype of people. Paul Bettany's like soft spoken. Soft spoken.
This one's
Carl's
soft
just
in the tags for the video. Soft smoking. It sounds like someone trying to give you a suck job and you're just not interested.
But yeah, I went through all of Dragon Age Inquisition, and my character didn't fuck anyone at all.
Wow. Sounds like you, Carl. Oh,
hey. But no, I'm not like that. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But no. I mean, Miranda was the first one for me to go. I need.
Oh, she was
to get my
so ugly, though.
What?
Yeah, but from the neck
Miranda
down.
was not attractive, man.
From the neck down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, Jack was my.
Yeah. With Jack, you can just do it whenever you want, can't you? When you like turn up to a fucking bunker.
Yeah, but you can fall in love with her. And like pursue like a relationship. It's not just like,
that.
Hey,
fuck that. Fandom fucking forget him.
God, what was that? You can't say stuff like that. Can we just say?
Him, just bleep it.
We've just had a message from our 5th member who should have been here today. Bear in mind,
don't even
we're 25 minutes in. Just to say that stuff came up.
Don't even speak his name.
I don't even know.
Can I just read this message to you because it makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what the second half of that sentence
Sorry,
is.
stuff came up and had to be an adult only in the door. Is he in like the red light district?
I don't know.
Is he in an adult only door?
Only adults allowed through this door. You You look like a little kid to me. You better go home.
You must
Why
be.
is
I
the
don't know why I
doorman
went
name
English
very
accent now.
British?
Yeah, I don't know why.
More British than the other guys that we're talking to.
If I ever meet you, Gary, which I think I will, then you need to just put that voice on 100% of the time.
Okay.
And I will casually just slide you money while you're doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah, you'll definitely meet Gary. He's
He's a clinger on.
definitely not the world's most advanced AI.
No, I'm not. Or am I?
I love how you program with a chuckle.
That's exactly what the AI would
Yeah.
say.
With a chuckle. At the end.
So
want
yeah,
me to link?
so Carl, you don't know what games you've been playing.
Well, ESO and
Talk a little bit about ESO.
Oh, I'm just going to get a drink.
Ben doesn't like it because he
You played
thinks
it.
it's like a micromanagement in inventory, which it isn't, or it doesn't have to be, because we've got all the stuff we need in our guild bank now.
At work,
It's-
Carl, I get about 300 emails a day, and that's what it feels like. So I go to work 8 hours, and I sift through 300 emails, and then I come home, and then I sift through 300 items in my inventory, and I've done nothing. That's what ESO was to me. My name is Ben, and I'm an ex-ESO player.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, but you don't get 300 emails a day.
My name is Carl. I'm still an ESO player.
Yeah. I have a problem.
It's if anyone goes into it with thinking Skyrim but with friends, they're going to be disappointed 'cause it's not. It is just an MMO with an Elder Scrolls skin.
Yeah, and the thing is, my least favorite thing about Elder Scrolls is the lore. The lore is fucking messy and dirty.
Well,
and,
to be
it's
fair,
not
I
very
always
good.
thought the lore was better than actual main stories or quests in the games.
I just didn't really dig the world of Elder Scrolls. I was like, whatever, like it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not.
Oh, yeah,
Breath
no,
of
good
Fire,
question,
or
Eric.
whatever.
You
the
could play
same-
Skyrim and skip through all the dialogue. Just give me the mission, give me the marker, go away.
But at the same time, I've got no.
Let me
interest-
fast travel to it because what is immersion?
Yeah, well, I've got no interest in any Lord of the Rings game. I mean, if you told me that 20 years ago, I'd be fucking laughing
Do
because
you like
I'd want
immersion?
great Lord of the Rings games. But now it's so overdone, and everyone does it based on the fucking films. I'm
What would
sick
be
of
a
that.
good Lord of the Rings game then to get you into it?
Nothing now because it's just ruined. It's so popular. I know it's always been like one of the
You're
world's
such a
greatest
fucking
fantasy
hipster.
books. Why am I?
I would love a Lord of the
So
Rings game
popular.
set purely on the books and the world of the books in the time of the Silmarillion, where there's fucking Balrogs everywhere,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that'd be dope.
and Morgoth is like still the Dark Lord, and you get to like design your character, and
Do you get to hunt monsters, Darren?
and you get to hunt monsters.
Moving on.
That would be sick. I
That's
would.
a-
I would
that
be
That
down
would
for
be
that game.
amazing. Yeah.
That was a hard book to read. It's like the fucking Bible, isn't it? It's like Genesis.
Well,
like
it's not. It's yeah. That's the point. It's meant to be almost like a history book.
Yeah.
You know.
And then there were fucking elves, and then there were humans, and then there were trees. And
That's the start of it. That's the start
Yeah.
of it. It gets a lot more booky than that. But yeah, I'll give that to you. It does. It's a bit of a slog at the
Bookie is a great adjective to describe a book.
It's a bit booky.
This
Yeah.
is super
It's a
funny.
bit too much.
That
It's a
one.
bit-
Too much for a book. Give me Where's Wally?
Describe this song. Oh, it's a bit musicy.
Very songy. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. This book is a bit booky.
Yes.
It was hardly going to be like a TV show.
I hate the term. It's a real page turner. Don't like that.
Why do you hate? What's wrong with it? That
Because
makes sense
it-
though.
that makes you
surely that's
It's a
an
book that makes you wanna
inevitability anyway.
keep-
Isn't every book a page turner? Or is
But it's a real
Yeah,
page
It's
turner.
real.
Just like
not
if
fair.
I said that's a like I don't know, that's a real woman or that's a real asshole.
Yeah, or it's just like
That's a
people
real
on the edge of the
jackass.
seats. So, right, okay. Like you're not hanging off the edge of the seat anyway as it is.
I don't know. I think it's a silly idiom.
Shut up.
Don't like it. A real page turner. Oh, there's me thinking I could just fucking flip book it. Thanks for that. Or I could just read through it. X-ray vision, all 400 pages.
You're taking it
Very
extremely
aggressive.
literally.
Yeah.
Very
I
aggressive.
just think we come up with a lot of silly things in this world. A real page
I
turner.
was getting annoyed about the idiom kill two birds at one stone because I've never like how do you hit a bird with a stone, let alone two birds?
That's an
And
achievement.
it's a
isn't it?
stone. It's not going to kill them. Like, where does that come from? Like, is it some like mythology where some chap was just like, here, like, look how cool I am. Let me just kill these.
Because
two
they used to have
birds."
like a sling, didn't they? That used to be a weapon at some point, like in Jack
That
and
used-
Stalk.
I know,
That did
maybe
used to be a
maybe a
weapon.
bird's nest. You kill it, hit that down with a stone. Kill baby birds.
Well,
chicks.
thanks to the
that's what
power of the
they're called.
internet, I'm looking
Yeah.
it up right now.
No.
Yeah, so I started looking it up, but then you know the way Google sometimes tries to tell you information without you having to click on a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that information, and it was just like, oh, the origin of it is conflicted, and then I had to click on the link to read the rest of the article, and I was like, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
But Carl, if you can tell
That's
me,
minimum effort.
we live in the day and age where we have the power and technology to access the collected world's knowledge, and it's just like, oh, I have to click twice. I'm not interested.
Better go
Welcome.
look at cat pictures
It's
again.
like
We can't swipe,
Highlander.
I'm not interested.
Do you know at the end where he wins, it kills everyone? It's like, and now I know everything. It's like, nah, we're all Highlanders.
We're all
We're all
immortals.
believe we're of this level of importance when actually we're all still on the same level together. The bar's just moved. It's easy to be great now, if that makes sense. It's easy to know
Yeah.
everything. So it's not a challenge.
True.
Not
True.
interested.
Yeah, do you know what? I can't be asked for this. All I'm finding is the same shit you found. It's like,
Yeah, there you go. You
I
see,
thought
you're
you
not
just said
arsed
you
Yeah.
don't host the podcast. Ah,
If we-
fucking can't be asked for this. I'm off.
if we can get gas and have lunch at the next stop, we will be killing two birds with one stone. No shit.
You're doing two things with a singular concentrated effort. Your efficiency
Yeah.
levels are off the fucking charts.
It's
And
like
two
killing
birds a
someone.
day.
It's like killing someone and fucking them at the same time.
What? No, it's not that at all.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe
Stop trying
fucking
to-
someone
you're
and killing someone
you're killing
else.
someone and fucking someone. That's killing two birds with one stone. 'cause
The same person.
Well, what if you want to die and you want to have sex while you're doing it? So you fuck someone and they kill you while
Yeah,
you're
well, yeah,
fucking
sort
them.
of,
That's
yeah,
two
but-
birds.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, no, it's the
With
same
one
thing.
bone.
Yeah. If you want to kill someone and fuck them, then you're killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, but how are you going to kill them by fucking them? Because
You're strangling them or cutting the fucking throat at the same time. I don't fucking know.
That's two different things. That's one bird with two
What?
stones.
What if you use your penis to
With a
pierce
knife.
their esophagus?
With a knife on it. You got a knife
That
stuck to
way,
your cock.
you're fucking them with your penis, while it also tears them to shreds.
Yeah,
And if
that
you
would
do
be
a good
two
enough
birds with
job
one
at the
stone.
fucking, then
Yeah,
you'll
that
actually
specific
you
scenario.
would actually behead them. You would whittle away their neck matter
Like a
until their
woodpecker.
head just disconnected.
I mean, if it was
Yeah.
one of your
Thank
life
you so much, everyone, for tuning into the Mountains of Madness podcast. I am not a serial killer. Have a great day.
short one today.
Says Carl's victim.
So, Gary, what games have you been playing?
I picked up Nier Automata actually.
Ah,
Yeah, you did.
That's
20 quid,
I
isn't
only got
it?
Nier.
Yeah, I got it on sale on the Steam market.
Oh,
But yeah,
PC. Oh.
yeah, on PC. Yeah, so the port is. So I'm having a couple of issues with it, like like FPS wise. You know, I'm kind of like.
Yeah,
hopping
I
around
actually did
frames
my
and stuff.
research before buying it, and I was going to get it on PC, and everyone was like, don't get it on PC if you can. And I was like, well, I don't have to get it on PC, so I guess I won't.
Yeah. See, I looked it up as well, and there were like the initial things about frame drop complaints and stuff, but there were like recent things. I was like, there wasn't that many recent things. I was like, fuck it, we'll give it a go anyway. But it's not too bad. I'm getting like 40 FPS. I'll take it. It's not too bad. But
Ooh.
yeah,
I'm
no,
happy
it's
just
it's
joining.
it's really enjoyable so far. I'm really liking the way they kind of meld the game styles
Yeah.
together. You got like a bullet rain game for like 30 seconds, and then you're flying a ship through like a tiny ass corridor, and then you've got your sword, and then you're like
Yeah, but
platforming.
what's
and...
fantastic about it is, right, is like you're doing the ship sections, which are a bullet hell type game, but when you're doing your action adventuring, you have your like little droid thing that shoots in a
of
bullet
course.
hell style way. So it's like there's an overlap.
Yeah.
And then later on, you're not going to do it much in your first playthrough, but later on you'll start like this hacking mini game, which is like super bullet hell, which is very much like the parts where you're flying around in your ship,
Yeah.
except it's like 2D like little hacking game instead, and it's so awesome. And then you would like unlock the ability to replay the hacking games. So it's like you have another game in there where you're like controlling like this little pointy hacking thing where you're shooting down like basically the security system of whatever you're hacking,
Okay.
and it's awesome. It's like there's 3 games in that game.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like the way they kind of like not only put a bunch of different game styles together, but like you were saying, incorporated one game style into the other. So you're saying like your little droid dude like shoots bullets, but also you'll go into a room full of like little bots, and then it'll just go overhead view, and then it's a bullet hell game again. You're like, holy shit, this is what the fuck, like,
Yeah.
and you're just running
Or
around
you're
with your
top
swords
down,
and
or you're whatever. Like, yeah.
yeah, it's great. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, I've played maybe 4 or 5 hours of it. I didn't actually get to play that much this week, but I'm definitely going to be
Gary, I have
grinding a
been
good bit of
playing.
it this
I've been
week.
playing Monster Hunter with your housemate, and I can hear you playing Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm playing. So when you say you didn't get to play much, you just mean you were playing other games.
Yeah. Well, I was playing with friends, so I was like, I should play while they're on. That's the only time I really enjoy Overwatch anyway, when I'm playing with people.
Because it's
So
a toxic fucking game
yeah,
otherwise.
it's a wasteland. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be grinding it a bit this weekend and next week as well. I guess I'll
Nice.
report back with a progress report.
So without spoiling it for the gentlemen here who haven't played it, what's the
Mm.
last thing you've done?
The last thing I did was
Without spoiling.
Has there been fireworks yet?
I mean fireworks.
On the roller coaster.
Oh yes,
the
yes,
roller
there have
coaster.
been fireworks for sure.
Okay, so you've done the roller coaster and all that crack.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
I think that was the very last thing I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we're trucking along.
I'm getting there.
What a fucking game though.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it
very
really
fun.
does. Like honestly, like I enjoyed it when I was at your point, and I was like, this is good. Like I'll definitely finish this game. It's like, man, like it just. I don't want to overhype it, but it's worth it. All the hype.
Yeah,
At the
no,
same time,
like most opinions of it say like it opens up like kind of playthrough 2, and you really start
2, yeah, and then when you get to 3, it's just like, okay, no,
yeah,
I get it.
then
Like,
3
I get
everything
why,
just goes
I
mental.
get why
and
this is,
it's great,
and it's been winning loads of awards recently as well. Actually, it's been winning like loads of stuff for sound design and soundtrack, obviously, because the soundtrack is
oh
phenomenal.
yeah, the soundtrack is
But it's been winning like RPG awards and shit and a couple of ceremonies, and like rightfully so. It's good to see it get like recognition.
Actually, that was another
It's-
thing I noticed. The way they, obviously, it's a common thing for games to do, but they'll change music with kind of the zone you go into. So you go into like a hostile area and the music changes.
Mhm.
But I really like the way they kind of manage the transitions, because in that game your character is really fucking fast. You run like super fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
and
like
I like the way when you're running as well, you like pick up like momentum, so you accelerate
yeah
while you're
yeah
running.
yeah.
If
It's
you run for
interesting.
long
I
enough, you
noticed
get
that.
super fast, and your legs and your arms move. Like you ever see like the Terminator movies where he's like
Yeah.
running and his legs are just
Yeah.
like at a flurry? It's almost like that. It's fucking wicked. You feel like you're like not human. In
Yeah,
those
but
moments.
essentially like you can be in combat and then just like run and be out of combat in like half a second and then just straight back in. But I really noticed with this game that the way they transition between the two music, or maybe the three music styles in the one area, so well done. Like you almost don't notice it changing, because most of the time you're like, oh, there's the boss music, because it just starts all of a sudden, or
Yeah.
it'll kind of be mixed in relatively crudely.
I've
And
mentioned it in this podcast before, but
yeah. I remember
every
actually.
music track in that game has 4 different versions. The first one is like a super stripped down version. The second one adds more strings and more flourishes, and the third one adds the vocals. And as you play through a level, the actual song itself will build and build and build and get bigger
They
and
add
more
layers on
grand.
top, yeah.
And the vocals will kick in generally when you talk to kind of like the leader of that area or the main quest giver
They
of
kind
the
of
area.
make
And
it
when you
a
talk
little
to them,
more epic and stuff as well.
yeah, and then the vocals will kick in, and it's like you've kind of found your purpose in the new zone, kind of like the quest giver or whatever. And that's when like the soundtrack really kicks in. And then every soundtrack has like a MIDI version that plays when you're hacking in that area. So if you enter the hacking mini game,
that's good.
it plays a MIDI version of the track, and that's just fucking wicked to me.
But yeah, no, it was very noticeable while I was playing. I was like, wow, the soundtrack for this is great. Like I turned it up a little bit. I was like,
You almost like start singing it as well, like I found.
yeah, I was humming it after the the area with the little desert part in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it. Well, I was in there for a while because I was just running around. I like looting. I like collecting all the loot.
Yeah, that was me as well.
yeah.
Like just have to pick up everything.
Every damn corner was explored.
I feel bad that I haven't got this yet. It's £20 now, and I swore to myself I'd get it once it hit like 30 quid.
Yeah.
I still haven't picked it up. There's a few games I want.
I'd say pick it up. I mean, I've
Are you a fan of like Japanese like anime and stuff like that, Ben?
To a
Because
degree,
it is very Japanese.
I probably
It
get
is very, very Japanese.
I probably
Like,
get
they all just wear
more.
skimpy outfits for no fucking reason. Like,
Yeah.
that kinda.
I've dipped my toe in some bits. Some of probably the more common stuff or the well-known stuff. But I think I'd enjoy it. I mean, when I was watching all the way back when it came out, Celebs review, I just thought, oh my god, I need to play this game. This game seems like the best of all worlds wrapped into one and sewn together by the most skillful people in the world. I thought, I've got to try this game. And every time it's come up on sale, I found an excuse not to buy it. Like now I've bought a car. I kind of can't spend any more money because I don't fucking have any. But I just think
the
for
ultimate
20
excuse.
quid. Yeah. I just think for 20 quid.
It could be the favorite game you play this year. You never know.
Could be. I mean,
Yep.
this came out 2017, wasn't it? Early 2017.
Last year, March last year.
All right, Carl. Fucking hell. You like those bots on Reddit? Need a date confirmation bot? Good bot. Anyway, Reddit joke. But yeah, I think for 20 quid, I think I might get it. But don't tell Emily. And cut this bit out, Carl.
Well, she's not listening to it, is she?
She's our biggest fan.
Sometimes I look at prices in units of pints, and it's like, it's 4 pints. Like, you drink 4 pints in a pub. And
Do you know
you
what?
don't love it.
You know what? I'm going to order it right now.
You know what? So am I. Live purchasing. Woo!
It's exciting.
Lads.
Woo!
Shop 2, Carl. 20 quid.
It's Carl's
It's very
deals,
good.
but live.
Don't buy the DLC. The DLC adds like 2 battle arenas that when you complete them, you get like alternative outfits. It's garbage.
Yeah, but the alternative outfits.
One of them is literally a skimpy outfit for one of the female characters.
What can I just say?
Like, even the name.
I've seen it.
Even the name of the outfit is just like skimpy outfit or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just totally like
They don't try
like
to hide the
unashamed.
fact. Yeah.
You on shop 2, Carl?
No, not yet. I'm just trying with the ones that I'm already registered with. I think I'm registered with them actually.
Shop 2.
Shop 2. Shop2.net.
Oh, hang a banger. How much is it at Argos? £44. Why don't we get it from there?
Fuck that.
Exactly, Argos. If you're listening, I fucking know
Fuck
you
you and your fucking fat wife.
are. What?
Oh no, Ben, it's out of stock. Shop 2.
It's on back order. Yeah. hang
Oh,
on.
bastards.
Hang on.
Well, I'm on
It's
well.
on base.
I've been on base, it's not there. 25 quid, it's left. Yeah.
No.
Oh,
It's all fallen down live. Pull the plug. Fucking cut the network.
Bugs.
Over.
I know
Hang
that
on,
when
wait. Hang a fucking about.
I'm hanging so hard right now, man.
I'm going to go on the PSN because there's a new Easter deal yesterday.
It's $24.99.
Oh, fuck. Never mind.
What do you mean off? It's £5, and you
Yeah,
don't have
but
to wait. It's there.
But for £5 less, I can get the fucking disc version.
Ben,
Carl,
that's a pint.
I will send you a £5 note in a letter.
No, I'd just like to have the disc version. I want the disc version.
You're so fucking lame. Go into a GameStop,
Would I have GameStop
right,
over
and
here?
say, go into a shop that sells video games and say, can I have one of the PlayStation 4 cases that you use on display? They'll say, let me ask my manager. They'll come back and say, I don't know if we can. Say, can I buy it off you? And they'll say, sure, like 30 fucking cent. And you'll be like, sound. Then take it home, print out the cover of Nier Automata, put it into the display case, and then pretend you have it on disc and buy it on PSN.
Do you know what?
You could even go on eBay and order a bunch of empty PlayStation game cases and just mass produce it like that for yourself, so you can just buy games online.
Oh, just fucking spend the £5 and just get it.
I remember buying Arkham Asylum 1 on PlayStation 3, and I bought the special edition because it came with a Batarang, and I was like, that's badass, I can have a Batarang on my shelf. So I pre-ordered it, went in the morning GameStop opened, so I could get it as soon as possible, bought the special edition, came home, and realised that the disc came in this like stupid cardboard sleeve that was smaller than any of the PS3 boxes and like was thinner. and I couldn't put it on my shelf with my discs, and I had to go back into GameStop, and I knew all the guys there, and I asked them for a display case, and it doesn't have like any of the ratings on it, and there's no barcode on it, but it's like it was still a case for Batman Arkham Asylum, and I put my disc in that, and I was able to put it on my shelf. And then I pretended that it was real and lied to myself for years.
Here's one for you. A few years back, Phil wanted Ikaruga on the GameCube. He managed to get the disc version, but because I had the full version with the case and the book, I did a colour scan of the case. Really good printing look they had at work, and you could hardly tell the difference. So I did that to him. But he knows deep down it's not the original case.
I knew deep down as well, and then I realised that downloading games was the way to go, and never looked back.
The thing is, I can see the it makes sense on a PC perspective because it's all in one place on Steam. But
I would argue that consoles are beginning to work towards
they are.
PC console parity.
Yeah, they are. But I like to have collector's editions.
I like to have collector's editions as well, but I bought the collector's edition of Dark Souls 3 for PC, and it came with a box, and I opened the box, and there was just a leaflet with a download code.
Yeah, but the PS4 version doesn't, does it? That's what I'm saying. That PC version, PC.
Eventually it will, though.
I don't think with PS4. I reckon PS5, maybe.
I reckon, no, I don't say PS4, but PS5.
Do you think they would like take the disc slot out? They're like, fuck it, nobody uses those anymore.
As long as they let you upgrade the hard drive, or hopefully they'll come with fucking solid state as standard.
Yeah, I wonder actually. I wonder when that'll be a thing. It's like, oh well, everything has SSDs.
And it needs to be 2 terabyte minimum. Look at some of the game sizes now.
Yeah, they're getting big.
Right, okay, so I tell you what then, I'm going to download it right now, Nier Automata, PS4 version. Download it now, and it'll be done by the time we finish the podcast.
I think you guys should ask me what I've been playing.
Apart from Monster Hunter World, what have you been playing?
Or...
No, don't do this to me.
So Darren, tell us about Monster Hunter World.
Hang on, Darren. It says you're playing it right now. Is that right?
It's paused.
It's
I'm definitely not playing it right now.
What
I
are you
definitely
playing?
haven't
What
been
are you
muting
playing?
and keeping myself from going AFK.
What are you playing? Put us out of our misery.
I have been playing a game called Monster Hunter World that we've spoke about briefly 2 podcasts ago. At that stage, I had barely gotten into it. I scratched the surface. Right now, and I've yet... So I am 80 hours in. I have yet to see the end credits.
Okay.
I'm at a point now where I have to defeat 3 kind of like final bosses. And upon defeating those, I have 1 more story mission. And then, even at that stage, I won't see the end credits, but I'll be pretty much like free to do whatever I want for maybe another 50 hours before I see the end credits. But it could very well be in my top 5 video games of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of glad I never picked it up, especially because Skippy's bought it 17 times and Carl's already sold it.
I still talk to Skippy and he's like, oh, I hate the Anjanath. Which is like, I'll fight an Anjanath now with one hand, like on my controller. And he just had like a bad experience where I just shit on him. And he's like, it can jump on top of you from anywhere in the map.
Yeah. And
then I play the game and I'm like, no, it can't. It can jump like a couple of yards towards you. But I feel like, honestly, my, and this is kind of a meme on the internet, but I feel like it's a lot like Dark Souls in the dodging and fighting mechanics. It's not in a lot of ways. And there's kind of this meme going around where people are like, oh, we're Monster Hunter veterans and all these newbies are joining and comparing it to Dark Souls. It's nothing like Dark Souls. But like the fact that I'm fighting big fucking monsters that are hopping around the place and I'm just kind of used to dodging around hitboxes.
Yeah.
And poor Skippy and Carl got fucked by the Anjanath. But I even played it with Tim, who had like we kind of power leveled Tim through it, and he had played Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and he was like totally fine, like just dealing with it. He's just used to it, you know.
Like learning movesets, using your iframes, stuff like that.
Yeah, using your iframes, learning movesets, and there is a grind to it. Like you have to kill the same monster 20 times I mean, maybe not 20 times. Maybe 5 times if you want to get its armor set or something, or a bit more. But it's never boring because you're fighting monsters in what genuinely feels like an ecosystem. So I can go into a mission and start fighting a Diablos, which is one of the types of monsters. And another fucking monster can come along and engage in a turf war where the two monsters start fighting.
Yeah.
And you just sit back and you're like, fuck. If I try to do anything here, I'm going to get shit on. So you just sit back and watch these two monsters kicking the shit out of each other. One will win, the other one will retreat, and if it's the monster you're hunting, you have to go chase after it again. And you're like, okay, well, I just saw you get your ass handed to you, so like, let's have round 2 kind of thing.
Yeah, probably.
And because it's
or
so,
whatever.
yeah, exactly, and because of the way the game like adapts and constantly changes, it never feels like you're doing the same thing over and over again.
That's good. It's
You
good.
know?
Yeah. No, you see, I like when games, there is a grind to them, but they try to keep it fresh. Actively try to keep it fresh. So like you said, there's a bit of a variance with like you go to fight a monster, then it's like, oh, another monster there. It's like, oh, he's got a friend or whatever. I mean, I don't know how it works because I've never played it, but I'm kind of imagining. But yeah, no, I like when games do that. I kind of deliberately keep it from getting stale because there's grinds in games that are just like so bad, and God, I just can't do this anymore. So it's a good thing to like have addressed in the game.
I mean, there's so many things I can talk about. There's so many things I can mention. I don't want to bore you guys because I'll just sound like a crazy person. I'll sound like that, like Charlie did in that episode of It's Always Sunny, where he's got like all the strings and the pictures put up everywhere, and he's just lost his mind because he's convinced there's a conspiracy in the mailroom. But like, he started introducing these monsters that are like, there's one called the basil geese or the basil juice. I call him Beetlejuice. It's this big fucking dragon thing, like bigger than any other monster in the game, and he can invade your fight at any point. And his scales like fall off him and land in the ground. And if he touches the scale when it's stuck on the ground, it explodes.
Okay.
So he'll like fly over your fight and just drop these scales everywhere. And then when he lands, they all just fucking blow up. And it's just like, okay, well, suddenly now I have to keep my eye on 2 fucking things, and then also try to get rid of this other fucker while I'm trying to fight my target. It's just great. Like, you just like log on and you're like, okay, what do you need to do, friend? And he's like, I need to kill this monster to get this specific part to make this piece of armor that will be advantageous in the upcoming fight that I have to do,
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's go hunt that monster. Hopefully that part will drop so you could, make this, and then we'll go hunt the thing I need to make my weapon part, and then let's go and hunt a fucking elder dragon that, I don't know, shits lava and farts blizzards. I don't know.
Is it all co-op?
So the game, you can play basically the entire game solo. You have this like cat-like companion called a Palico, which also can level up separately, and you can give him tools. So by default, he'll be able to provide additional healing, and you can replace that with a tool that like draws aggro, or one that buffs you, or one that like knocks items off the monster that you can sell for money.
Okay.
And then when you have 2 players, you have got 2 players and 2 Palicos. And then after that, if you have more players, the Palicos will disappear, so it can be up to 4 players.
Oh, okay.
And no Palicos, basically. The way it kind of works is you post a quest to like your session. And your session is like 16 players. And they can join your quest. Or you can go off by yourself. And when you're off by yourself, you can shoot this SOS that makes your quest become available to any Monster Hunter player in your region or whatever. So what I'll do is I'll start a quest solo. I'll go and start fighting the monster and then shoot my SOS as soon as I start the quest. And then as I start fighting the monster, I'll be solo for a little while. And eventually I can have up to 4 people helping me. And the monster gets more powerful as players are added.
Yeah.
I think it's single player has like 1 strength of the monster, and then multiplayer has another strength. So when you have 3 people, it can become a little bit easier. And it splits like the reward money and by 4, but at the same time, everyone can still get the same amount of resources from killing the monster. So it's not like it divvies it up in that regard.
Oh, okay.
But fuck, man, it's just so addictive and it's so much fun.
Yeah, no, it kind of sounds like my type of game, because I think above all with co-op games and like playing with my friends, just like That's one of my favorite things to do, like just playing games, and
Well,
especially when there's kind of things to learn as a group. When you kind of start playing a game together, I always think that's great as well. So it sounds like
Yeah.
it's really fun.
I always thought that, right? I had the third one on 3DS. Always tried to get into it. Tried the demo on the fourth one. Tried to get into it. Got this one. Got a bit more into it than the previous ones. And it's the game I should love, but I just can't get on with it. I don't know what it is about it. I just can't do it. And I love my action RPGs. I love grindy games. I just can't do it with this one.
And when you say that, like, as an action RPG, it is so action and it is so RPG. Like, if you want to be good at this game, you need to do your research. Like, I sat down and have watched maybe 60 minutes of video telling me how to use my weapon.
Oh yeah, no, I've watched the videos. I've read all about it.
RPG element, it's all about like getting pieces of gear with skills that complement other pieces of gear and stacking skills up. So you're like, right, I'm fighting a monster that roars a lot and stuns me, so I'm going to try to customize my gear to get the earplugs buff, which makes me immune to that, but it also does lightning damage, so I'll try to like pair that with lightning resistant armor and then put in gems that add to that, so I have good lightning resistance, good earplugs, and then pick a weapon that works against his weakness. And there's just so much like RPG in it,
Yeah,
where you're really to sit down and be
shit
like,
that, yeah.
you're min-maxing the fuck, and you're like, every monster is different, and as you kind of start fighting harder and harder monsters, you really need to sit down and go, right, what will I need to bring with me? Like, what do I need to fight this monster? And then there's like countless fucking items as well that you can take with you that make you immune to certain status effects or boost your attack or boost your maximum damage or whatever. So like, just sit down and actually pick it apart. There's just so many options.
Yeah. Is it like, say if you were going into a fight and you're like, okay, this item will make it like way better. Could you like go in and not use the item and like grind it out if you were just really good, like mechanics?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, like, for example, there's one area that's got lava, and when you're in the lava areas, it like does like constant slow damage to you, but you can bring an item called cold drink that negates that. So you could bring that, make it easier, or you could just be like, right, fuck it, I'll just get hit less and tank this constant tick damage, and then eventually just heal myself.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool, because I like when the game kind of gives you options. You can grind it out and
No, totally.
really, have a skill-based battle, or you can just go in OP as fuck and just blast the shit out of them. Like,
Yeah, and that's exactly how you can play it. Yeah.
that's good.
You can either get good or kind of use the environment. And then with your cat guy, like, you can make him make friends with the wild cat tribes and areas that teach him how to mount the wildlife. So like, if you go
Okay.
to one of the areas, your cat can like jump on one of the local wildlife that does paralysis damage and attack the monster with paralysis damage, which then can temporarily stun him and let you smack the head of him more. Or you could just leave your palico and not bring him with you at all, and then you're fighting him 1v1 with no assistance at all,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, it sounds good. I know. I guess we'll see how the port is to PC. see
Yeah.
what it's like.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of systems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of menus. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of learning. But when you get into it, it pays you back. Like, it pays you back for the effort you put in initially,
Yeah, you see, I'm totally fine with front loading a game. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of a weird way to put it, but you spend like what 50 hours grinding and learning and maybe even not having fun while you're playing, and then you get to that point where you're like, all your like knowledge accumulates to like one thing you do and it works, and you're like, that was amazing.
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
get the payout. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be it'll be kind of my type of game.
I want to say one more thing on this game, and I will shut the fuck up because I could keep going. In a lot of games, in MMOs, in RPGs, whatever, you pick a character, you design your character, and you pick a class, and that class determines what you can do and what you can bring to battle. How you play, how you fit into a system, the type of damage you do, whatever it is. There's nothing like that in Monster Hunter. Your weapon is your class. So at some point, I could say, right, I've been using the Charge Blade for 80 hours. I want to try out the Lance. I can go, and the game gives you the basic version of all the lances. I could go and say, right, here's my lance. it's obviously shit right now, but I've been killing monsters for 80 hours, so I have loads of parts. Let's upgrade my lance to the point where it's doing the same damage as my charged blade is. I have like 6 charged blades of different elemental damage. Let's say I just build one lance down one path, so it's doing a good damage. Might not be adaptable to every scenario ever, but I can use it effectively. Suddenly it's a different fucking game.
Yeah.
You know? Suddenly the entire playstyle changes. I could pick the light bowgun, and the game is a third-person shooter, where you are running around, aiming, and shooting at the monster, and shooting it like a fucking shooter, you know? Or the heavy bowgun, which is like a mortar, where you like plant it in the ground, and you like rain artillery fire on the monster, or you can like lie it down and take like these focused sniper shots.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's
And it's a different fucking game. And you don't have to start again, you don't have to start the whole grind again, or anything. You just upgrade your weapon a bit, and you're basically interacting with it in an entirely different way. And
that's
fucking
cool.
awesome.
It sounds like different run throughs of Dark Souls, and off the top of my head, it's like, oh, I want to do a Dex one where I use a bow, and then you play through, and then the next playthrough you do like a spear playthrough, and it's like a totally different play style. But being able
Yeah.
to do that within the one run is pretty cool.
Yeah. And like I was helping Tim out, and Tim was lower level than me, so I just switched to a hammer that was around the level that he was at. So I was doing equal damage as him and not overpowered, but also got to experience the game through an entirely different lens, you know?
That's awesome.
And I am done talking about Monster Hunter. If you would like to hear me talk more about Monster Hunter, I'm uploading a separate video series called Darren Talks Monster Hunter. Seriously though, I'm loving it, and I can't see myself not playing it for a long time.
Sweet.
So, in one of our last podcasts, I kind of came up with the idea for a topic of something you would like to ask a celebrity or a famous musician or something, if you ever had the chance to meet them. Or what would you say to somebody famous if you got to meet them? Not necessarily a positive thing, but I asked us all to have a think about it and maybe discuss it in the next podcast. Has anyone done that?
No.
Because I know Carl mentioned it as a possible topic, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me have a think about it. So I had hoped that maybe...
Have you thought of one?
I have a few kind of ideas, but nothing that Carl would like. My first thought was like, what would I say if I met Kanye West? And you hate Kanye West, and I know you hate Kanye West. But I quite like the dude's music. I quite like the dude's style. But I realized that Kanye West is an egotistical man and loves having his ego stroked. So I wouldn't go up to him and be like, hey Kanye, where's the new fucking album? Why is your t-shirt so expensive? Because he could lose his shit. So I think like...
That's exactly why
like, what would I
it.
say? I was like, what would I say if I met Kanye? And I'd probably try to be like respectful, you know? And like... stroke his ego a little bit, just so I could get a picture with him. Just be like, hey Kanye, like, thanks for everything, man. Love your shoes. Love your clothes.
Dude.
You're an inspiration, man. Because otherwise I'd be terrified of him like going off on me. And then you see other celebrities, like, I'm sure everyone's seen an interview with some celebrity and you're like, this guy just looks like a cool guy. Like, I would hang out with him.
Yeah.
And so like I probably wouldn't have that like strategy going into things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really considered myself to be like a fan of like celebrity culture as a thing. Like there's whole like media sections
Yeah.
dedicated entirely to just like what celebrities do outside of the thing that makes them a celebrity. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this person went to the shop in tracksuits. Good lord, that kind of shit.
that
Obviously
thing where it's like-
that's a very kind of niche area of it. People are just into like gossip and stuff. I realize that's not like a big part of celebrity culture or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm not like, oh, I'd love to meet these people, these famous people or whatever. Like, say if I'm at a gig and somebody's like, do you want to meet the band? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to meet the band. They're probably like some cool dudes or whatever. But if I was at like a Kanye West gig and they're like, do you want to meet Kanye West? I'd be like, shit, I don't know. I have no idea. Like he could be a
the
total
reason I
dickhead,
kind of
like...
ask the reason I kind of asked though is more so like not necessarily what would you say to this celebrity and like just start reaming off a name of like loads of celebrities, but like how would you react? Like I have had run-ins with some small celebrities and I've been like nervous to talk to them at times. which is a ridiculous thing. It's just like they're just a normal person.
Yeah.
They wipe their fucking arse, you know, and they shit in the toilet just like I do. Like there's nothing special about them. But there's just something like when you, I don't know, watch someone or listen to someone, you almost feel like, I don't know, like you know them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you have some right to what they do. It's like, oh man, that last album you wrote is shit, so fuck you.
Yeah,
it's just
and
like,
it's okay
yeah,
to
but
tell
he
them
was,
that, you know?
yeah, but it's just like that's him writing like how he felt in that moment. Like
Yeah.
that's just an expression of him, and you just like feel like you have some ownership over that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
think
I
it
don't...
goes to admiration, because you hold these people in light, good or bad. If they've done something good or something completely shit that you don't like, you still admire the position they're in, and that's at the forefront of your mind when you meet people who have done something popular or well known. You think, wow, that's the guy who did this, or that's the woman who did that. So that's in the forefront of your mind. Then you get to the rest of it. Oh, they're just another person. They've worked up for the past 10 years to get where they are, or whatever. But you still have that admiration. I think that's what puts people on the, like you say, you're a bit nervous, because you think, wow, this person's achieved what a few people want to achieve, or quite a few people want to achieve. I think if I ever bumped into somebody again, I'd just like to say, I like to make a point when I meet anybody famous, I don't take a picture. I don't take a selfie. Or I don't capture the moment with them. There was one guy I've done it with, and I've never, because it's just for me. It's just like, it's nice that I've met that person, had a small conversation, and that's it. I don't need to boast or show anybody else that I met
your
them.
experience.
Yeah, you're kind of living through their success, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I feel like almost if you're taking a picture, it's not for you. It's so you can brag.
Yeah.
You know, you can be like, look at me.
Yeah.
I put my hand on insert name of celebrity here. You know what I mean?
And I don't like to do that. I hate the thought of doing that. I'd be sick of myself of just having my arm around Kanye West going, look at this motherfucker.
Pointing at him.
Forcing him to smile or whatever.
Pointing at him or thumb up.
Pointing.
Doing fucking whatever side he comes from.
It's like all these things, all these like conventions that people go to. Oh, I'm going to meet so-and-so who's the voice actor of so-and-so in episode so-and-so. I'm like, why? Why the fuck are you spending all that money to meet one guy who did one role in one episode of that fucking one program? You're like...
Yeah. But I think if you like something enough, I can get it in a way. You know, like if you follow something to the point of being obsessed with it religiously, I get it. Or like if I had a chance to meet an artist that's, I don't know, helped me through difficult times in my life, I'd like to shake their hand and say, look, thank you for making a positive impact on my life, and I appreciate what you do. That's all, you know. And anytime I have met a celebrity, I've always walked up to them and said, hey, I don't want to piss you off. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to make anything awkward. I don't want to bother you. Just want to shake your hand and just say thanks, because you've done something that's made me feel good in a shitty day, or you've done something that's inspired me, or you've done something and created something that's brought enjoyment into my life, you know.
Yeah, I get that, but when it's Stormtrooper number 231 from fucking Force Awakens at some convention, it's like...
I don't get that. It's just somebody, the loosest connection to something popular. It's like, oh, this guy was in that thing. Did I ever tell you the story about Lemmy and a woman I used to work with? And she went to a Motorhead gig, and they were in Covent Garden having it. It was in London, obviously. They went to Covent Garden for breakfast the next day, and Lemmy was just walking down the street, and she says, "Can I buy you a drink? Oh, can I get you some breakfast?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll have a bourbon, no ice." So she got him at like 9-10 o'clock in the morning, glass of bourbon, and he just sat
of course, like
breakfast.
though it's Lemmy, like.
Yeah, but she said that she just they just talked about the gig the night before, and he just sat there supping his drink, going, He'd obviously just got in, like he was on his way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the thought of going up to somebody and just saying, "Yeah, I appreciate what you've done. That's ace. Cool.
Yeah.
Any tips?" Not any tips. That's weird.
Teach me your craft.
Yeah, I wouldn't think, oh, let me get a picture with you so I can show my friend. It
Yeah.
sickens me.
I know. I think I like while definitely saying like, oh, I really, really like your work, or you helped me through some bad times or whatever. I think I would probably just be on the side of not really even saying anything, not even going up to them. I don't know why. That would just be my natural inclination. Like if I see the famous person, I'm like, oh shit, that's I don't know, insert famous person name here. My immediate reaction wouldn't be to go up and try to meet them. I would just be like, oh look, I seen that person today. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when we were out the back of that venue, Carl, when we went to see Coheed and Cambria.
Oh
in
yeah, and the
Victoria,
bases were
London.
there.
No, it was
It was the
Claudio as
bassist.
well.
No, we didn't
He
see
came out
Claudio.
afterwards. He came out afterwards.
Oh yeah,
Walking
that's
away.
when the gig got cancelled.
Was it that day? Because I thought they were packing up.
No, there was a gig that no, you didn't. No, there was the gig when it got cancelled. The second night, wasn't it? And Keeping Secrets that got cancelled because of the power cut, and that was pushed back to the very last night after the last night, wasn't it? And they all came out to see the fans. We weren't there because we like, fuck this, and let's go shopping.
Oh yeah, that was it. But on the last day, when they were literally 15, 20 minutes after the gig had finished, the bassist was out the back, sparking up something and putting his Trace Elliott amps in the van with his techs. And I said, let's go say hi. Just say, yeah, fucking awesome 4 days or 5 days. Thanks very much. And I went, nah. There'll be another time. And I'm looking at Carl like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Let's just go say hello. It's like, nah. And there was 2 guys with him as well, 2 fans. So we would have had a conversation with this guy just while he's having a cigarette. And he wasn't. Carl wasn't interested. I thought it was strange.
Like I've gone to see like metal bands before, like with artists that I would hold in very high regard, but wouldn't be in that celebrityism that Gary mentions, where it's like people care about what they wear on the weekend. Like
Yeah.
you could walk down the street and no one would know who they are. And like I've gone to a concert, and then afterwards they're like unloading their gear just on the stage in this bar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's no roadies. They're just like picking up their shit and walking out of the bar.
Like...
And then there's people like crowding around them like, oh my God, you're this person. And they just kind of go like, guys, we're just trying to get the gear put away now. So if you just give us a chance to move all of this, we'll come out the front and we can hang out. And like they just come out the front of the bar afterwards, smoke a cigarette, have a pint, and just like hang out. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
think at that stage, it's like I don't mind talking to them because they're like, we're making ourselves available to talk to our fans. So then it's like, oh my God, what was your inspiration for this song? Tell me about the solo in this song. Yeah. Oh my God, can I touch you? Can I get a picture? And they're like, yeah, sound. I invited I have one specific example in my head of meeting the band Cynic, that are probably my favorite metal band of all time. When I was like hanging out with them and like smoking cigarettes, I invited them over to my house because they had a song released on the Rock Band game.
Yeah.
I was like, go over to my house, we'll play your song on Rock Band. And they were just like, nah, like we're not going to do that. And I was like, yeah, that's fair.
It was worth a shot.
I actually then met the guitarist and bassist that played on their second album, who had left the band when I met them. And they were playing in like just a pub in Dublin. And I remember like hanging out with them. And my girlfriend at the time had met them before and they remembered her. So they were like, oh, come on into like our dressing room. And I was like, I'm going to get a pint. And they were like, we've got like these lukewarm cans of Carlsberg. Do you want a Carlsberg? And I was like, I hate Carlsberg, but like you played all the solos on Cynic's second album and did the growls. Like, I'll take a can of Carlsberg from you.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. And I was like, didn't feel bad about just hanging out or asking them dumb questions.
Yeah.
But if you're like interrupting their day to day, like just walking on the street, whatever, it feels different, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like if I was invited to like sit down and talk with somebody, that I like was a big fan of or whatever, be like, hell yeah, I'll take that opportunity. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, if they're just having a chat with some friends or going to the shop or whatever, I just would err on the side of just leaving them be. They probably have enough people coming up to them asking them for shit. I don't want to be another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yes, weird. I'd like to go back to the topic though. Let's all think of a question we'd like to ask if we did, or if we only had one opportunity to go in a full in-depth conversation. What would it be? I think that'd be good for next week.
There's one more question that I have, right? So we've talked about celebrityism and people that we would admire or like to thank or like to take a picture with. But what if, like, you go to Tesco tomorrow and Donald Trump is there, just hanging out, just doing shopping with no one around? Would you go up to Donald Trump and be like, "You're a fucking asshole"?
I'd fucking chin the cunt.
Like, would you actually though, Carl? Would you actually physically assault him if you could?
Yeah.
But think about what's going to offend the man more, because he is just a pure self-centered, egotistical maniac. I think the fact that you would just walk past him would offend him the most, and just not acknowledge him at all.
Well, maybe not even Donald Trump, but like Martin Shkreli, that fucking rich guy, the pharmaceutical fucker who bought that Wu-Tang Clan album for however many million, and like increased the price of medicine by 300% for some drugs. Or not drugs, for some illnesses.
He bought a company that were just on like the brink of like cracking some cure for something. I can't quite remember.
It was HIV tablet, wasn't it? And it's like
okay,
500%.
No, it wasn't HIV. It was like a debilitating, like disease of the mind. I thought, wasn't it?
Maybe I can't remember, but I'm fairly sure he essentially bought the company before they figured it out, and they were planning to release it at like a certain price, cost and stuff, and then he like hiked it up by triple before they had the release or whatever.
It was something like 1,000% that he hiked it up by.
Oh, was it? Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was just completely immoral.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole Donald Trump
He
thing.
increased a drug called Daraprim. He increased the price by a factor of 56, from $13.5 US to $750 US
crazy.
per pill.
Yeah.
Per pill.
Nonsense.
Like
scumbag
someone like
category,
that, someone like that, and you just see them about their daily business. Now, if I seen like someone I respected going about their daily business, I'd have respect. I'd be like, I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to annoy them. Like, I respect and appreciate everything they've done, whatever. If I see that fucker walking down the street, like what, like,
I'd feed him a glass sandwich.
Would you really?
Yeah.
I hate his fucking smug face. Fucking hell.
I hate his nose as well, man. Like, to be honest.
You see, he was
crying.
He was crying one of the other week.
He's bankrupt now, and he's been imprisoned.
He was crying when he got sent to prison, like proper crying.
Good.
I'd love to have licked his fucking cheeks, spat him back in his face.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I don't think I would do anything. I'd just be like, oh god, that guy is a fucking dick. Just walk past them. I don't know.
Which is funny because Gary's actually like a black belt, so he could probably like
murder the shit out of him. But
you could break him in like more ways than I can imagine.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would. I mean, I guess at risk of being some kind of center of media scandal or whatever. This guy fucking knocked the shit out of Martin Shkreli. I'd be like, oh god, please don't take pictures of me. Fuck, like, just get away from me.
Please don't come up to me and ask me what my inspiration was. For
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to load my gear into a van. Leave me alone. But yeah.
I guess the last question I have then about this is, would you like to have that level of celebrityism?
I would.
Would you like people terrified to meet you?
No.
Would you like people trying to take pictures of you when you're taking a shite in the field?
No, I think it's weird. It's weird having any unwanted attention.
Even when I was younger, I'd said, like, even to my mom, she'd be like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up or whatever?" And
Anonymous.
I would always what, anonymous? No, but I would always be like, "Oh, like this or that or whatever." But I would always follow up with, "But I don't want to be famous." I don't know why. I just feel like it would be a really terrible thing. I don't know why. It just seems like a bad deal.
There's a few people I follow on various social media, and they make a conscious effort. Now they're working actors. I wouldn't go so far as to say they are famous, but they're on that cusp where they're getting regular work. They will probably have bigger roles in the next few years, which might change that. And they do the same kind of thing on social media as the more famous people do, where it's just advertising what they do in their life. Now they don't have a 9 to 5, obviously. They're just going to the gym, they're staying fit, they're eating nice food, they're going out, they're drinking, they're being with friends, just random shit that they post on Instagram or wherever all the time. And it's the same at all levels. And I don't know whether it's like a prerequisite now where you have to have that following of here's my life, everybody, comment, look at it, watch it, criticize it, just be involved and see what I'm doing so I get my face out there. I don't know, it's weird. Like if you look at my feed on anything, it's rare that there's a picture of me in my day-to-day life doing anything. Yeah, that's a very good point. But still,
I do a lot of stuff for the clout.
you say for clout.
Yes, CLOUT.
We have two very different meanings for clout. Informal.
Yeah, I know, you're fine.
All right.
No,
Anyway, I don't have the most
Fine.
adventurous life at the moment. But who knows? Maybe I do. Maybe I just don't want to stick it all on Instagram. I just find the concept bizarre. Like here is my life 9 to 5 on Instagram.
It's just to be kind of, I don't know, relevant or whatever. That seems to be the influencing factor. Just
Yeah.
your social media presence. You really, really need to have it if you want to be relevant. It's a thing, definitely. But yeah,
I
like
mean, you look at some of the best, and they're not on social media.
yeah,
Wouldn't
but
even
I mean,
wouldn't
you
even
don't
dream
really
of it.
you don't really talk about them as well. Most of the people that get talked about, the really, really famous people that everyone knows, most of them will have a very active social media. Aside from historically famous people.
Yeah, I would say anyone like famous and under the age of 35 will have a very active social media.
Yeah.
Now the thing about it is, right, is if Ben, the actor, becomes really famous tomorrow, realistically you'll fail unless you have a social media presence.
I think you're right.
You will just not be out
I
there.
think you're right.
But a lot of these people don't sit on their phone on Twitter or Instagram. You just hire somebody to be your social media manager.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
It's actually
like, do you think like if you look at, yeah, no, exactly. Sorry to interrupt you, Gary.
Yeah.
There's one more thing. If you looked, like, maybe it's different now, but back in the day, if you looked at Britney Spears' Twitter, it was so obvious which tweets were written by her and which were by a PR team. Like, she would have been like, "Oh my god, I love these doggies. They're so cute." And the next one would be like, "Hi everyone, I am performing a concert at this day." And it's just like, it's so like it's such a stark difference, But that's what you would need. You would need a manager, a social media manager.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look at who doesn't have social media, they are probably 30 plus, have been established before maybe 5-10 years ago, and who are at the top of their game. I mean, you look at people like Jeff Bridges and maybe some others on his level,
like Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, most of the stuff they're talking about, it's the big issues now. They've been successful and reached a point in society where their opinion is counted, justly or unjustly. So they take advantage of that. And to be fair, I think many people would. If you could influence a large group of people with what you believed was right, you would probably preach. And Jeff Bridges, his social media, as far as I understand he has now, is mostly geared towards plastic pollution. And that's it.
I'm a big fan of using your power to do what's right, but I hate this like celebrity, like, the way like on Facebook people make jokes about, oh yeah, we're gonna help the victims of this mass shooting by giving our thoughts and prayers
by
and our likes or whatever.
Yeah.
The celebrity version of that is someone like Samuel L. Jackson going, "We should take the money of rich people that aren't rich people because I'm rich. I'm a rich person, but take the money of other rich people and pay teachers." It's like, why don't you start a trust fund for teachers?
Or go down to your local school and bring teachers a fucking free lunch or something.
Donate 2% of your paycheck from the next Avengers movie, and you'll pay for an entire school to do whatever they want for a year.
Yeah.
Like,
see, it's
get off social media and fucking do something. Lead by example.
It's
But
the
why
difference
would you
between
want-
actually doing something.
Why should I give £5 a month to help some charity when I'm not rich? When rich people don't fucking bother doing it, like
Because-
it's
yeah.
it's inspiring.
Why donate $1 million of my money when I can get 2 million of you to donate £1 each?
But what's gonna make one of those millions donate money is if Sammy Jackson donates £1 million, I'll be like, right, well, if he's doing it, I might be inspired to do
Oh,
it. I've
old
definitely been
Sammy's
inspired to do
booked
it
up. I
sooner.
better do it myself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Sammy with his millions can't afford anything, but let me donate some money.
Pleb
I mean,
number
it just fucks me off, like.
472, like donate $1. Yeah, but it's kind of the difference between actually doing something and then using
The
your name
perception
as
of doing
like an
something.
influencer to do something.
Mm.
Because you
Mhm.
see a ton of famous people and they'll be like, "This is my opinion," wink, wink, nod, nod. I think this should be done. They won't explicitly
Mhm.
say it.
Yeah.
And then you'll have famous people who are like, "This is what needs to be done. I've set up this. This is a petition. Blah blah blah." They use their
You look at like Emma
publicity.
Watson, who's like done so much
Exactly.
for like
That's the perfect example.
championing like women's rights or whatever, and she has a degree. She went and got a degree after being in Harry Potter, and she definitely didn't need to do it. And she's been like a proper activist, doing speeches,
Yeah,
donating
like
money,
all
whatever,
the pictures you see
know?
of her are at like conferences and conventions and shit. It's
Yeah.
like she's actually there doing
She's
stuff.
out there doing work,
But she's
and
also
using
using her
name.
publicity. It's like, oh shit, Emma Watson's at that fucking,
Let me go
rally
and
thing.
like,
I'll
just
go
to see
and
Emma Watson.
all the people that might want to meet her, then they go and they're like, oh shit, this is a really good cause. I might
Mm.
do that. So you
Yeah.
kind of they're getting two birds with one stone. Well, hey,
Yeah. Hey. Just to go back to the point about needing a social media presence, you look at the most popular actors and actresses right now, and a lot of them are popular not because they're great actors or actresses, because you see them on reposts on Facebook, and you're like, oh my god, Jennifer Lawrence, she's just like a normal person. She talks about eating pizza and getting embarrassed in front of celebrities. Oh my god, Emma Stone, she's popular because she talks about the fact that her feet can smell sometimes.
yeah.
Oh my god,
Um,
Ryan Reynolds. He tweets about having a baby and how annoying babies are. I have a baby who is also annoying. I can relate to him because of his Twitter feed.
What's interesting is IMDb's top celebrities. So there's 4.9 million actors / actresses, if they still want to be differentiated. And I think it's based on searches or popularity of content, and it's pulled together to determine who's the most popular at the moment, actively most popular. And you look at the top 14, and they're all women.
Wow.
And I would say
Really?
mostly
It's a little bit surprising,
young
to be
women,
honest.
except for number 14.
Not bad surprising, just surprising.
Yeah, except for number 14, which is Timothy Chalamet.
Wait, what? Who?
The guy who was in Call Me by Your Name. He was Oscar nominated.
Don't know. Never
Young
heard of him.
kid. No, I've
Never
not heard
heard
of
of
him either, but he's
He's the 14th most searched actor on IMDb.
well, I think it's also externally searched as well, not just in here. Then you've got Michael B. Jordan, and then you've got.
Oh, I love Michael B. Jordan though.
I mean, the women outrank men on here maybe 3 or 4 to 1, in as the listings go on. There's just so many women in the top 100.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. I figured it would be like a women sided, but not like mass. I was gonna say
Who's
I was
number
gonna say
one?
mass
Out of
domination,
curiosity.
but that's a strange way to
Number
put it.
1. Have a guess.
Jennifer Lawrence.
No, I don't even think she's in the top 10. Oh, she's number 10. She's the highest paid actress in the world.
Yeah, she is.
Is she? Oh,
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is not in the top 10.
Charlize Theron.
No.
You just
in the
wake
top
up, oh
10.
wait, yeah, she's at number 9.
Nope, not in the top 10.
I literally can't think of a female actress, an actress.
I will tell you, it is Alicia Vikander, or Vikander.
I think it could have given me 1,000 years and I would not have guessed that.
She's new Tomb Raider. She's new Lara Croft.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I hear that movie's garbage.
I heard it as well. My friend's in that. It's one of his first big films.
Oh, nice.
He's got a couple more lined up. I'm gonna have a chat with him in a few days.
Okay, so give us the top 10 there. I'm curious.
So okay, top 10. We've got Alicia Vikander. You've got Karen Gillan, which is the lady who plays Nebula.
I know.
In
Yeah, I know.
Guardians of the
Karen
Galaxy.
Gillan. Yeah, she was in Doctor
She's
Who
in
as
Doctor
well.
Who as well. Alexandra Daddario.
How is she number 2? The number 2 most searched actress in the world is Karen. What's she in like recently that's causing these searches?
Jumanji.
all the Marvel
She
Netflix
wasn't in-
stuff.
Oh, she was in Jumanji. She wasn't in. No, she played Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. She wasn't in any Netflix shows.
She's in Jumanji
Oh,
2.
Who am I thinking of? Sorry, I'm.
Oh no, there is a Jumanji 2, but she's in Jumanji. She's been in Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing else coming up really. The List, The Circle. Circle was good.
That's crazy.
She's got a great American accent actually in that. But yeah, she's number 2.
Well, no, well maybe not. I mean, it's hard to say unless you're American, like. Because I listen to Irish accents and I'm like, that's atrocious. And people would be like, oh my God, Brad Pitt sounded so good with an Irish accent.
It took
Oh
me
my
a few
God.
minutes, well, probably longer than that, to figure out.
But you're not American.
Because she blended so well. She's surrounded by Tom Hanks. There's somebody else. Oh, and Emma Watson as well. It was just
Emma Watson's in the top 10, is she?
no. She was in the film. She was in The Circle. So number 3, we've got Alexandra Daddario, who was in Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yeah, she was also in. She was also
True
in
Detective.
what you call it, True Detective, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, Baywatch, Percy Jackson films, some other stuff. Marvel Avengers Academy. She was the voice of the Wasp in the video game.
Oh,
there you go.
There you go. She's not the Wasp.
No, she's not.
Evangeline Lilly is the Wasp.
Who's playing her?
Evangeline Lilly.
That's it. Yeah. Apparently she's a beast in it.
Toriel in The Hobbit, but more importantly, she was Kate in Lost.
Yes, she was. I haven't seen her in anything other than those things.
Here's a fun fact for you. You know the way couples sometimes have like that like exception rule where you're like, don't cheat on me, but you can have like one celebrity that you're allowed to
your
have sex
dream
with.
scenario or whatever.
Your dream celebrity. So Bridget and I, my wife, do not have that. But Evangeline Lilly, we have decided that if we ever have the chance for a threesome, it's with Evangeline Lilly because Bridget finds her very attractive.
I'm so bad with celebrities. I literally know it.
Kate from Lost, the Wasp from Ant-Man. She
Oh,
was
yeah, I know
ginger
her.
elf in The
Like,
Hobbit.
I literally have to look it up and be like, yeah, I know her face from that movie.
She's Canadian. Guys, we have talked a lot about celebrities, and we have talked a lot about video games.
Oh, wow.
Shall we
are, yeah.
switch gears
Hey.
and discuss our Marvel movie of the week?
I think we should.
So our Marvel movie of the week is Guardians of the Galaxy. Right off the bat, probably one of my favorite. Easily in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys feel rewatching it?
Man, gave me some good vibes.
Initially, both me and Carl didn't fancy rewatching it. And then when I actually started watching it, I remembered how good it was. Because it broke the mold a little bit. So the music was great from the start. It was just a little different. It was just a nice light film to watch. It wasn't heavy at all to an extent. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Glad I watched it again.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very surprising.
Yeah, it just gave me like like when I was watching it, I was like, oh man, I just really like this film. It's a it's a feels good movie. There's some parts of it that are, definitely not feels good, pretty like heavy or, but it's obviously necessary to make the story believable and in any way interesting as well. If it was all like light,
you need to have conflict.
Yeah,
all the characters work. That's what was great. It was the mix of characters and how they were with each other and in the world that was created. It was just great to watch.
But yeah, one thing I noticed kind of looking back was how they deal with aliens, like in like air quotes in this movie. The way they kind of take kind of things that are inherently, well, I guess those English speaking culture, they got like sayings and little things like that, and they would use them in the movie, like they have in like countless other Marvel movies, and then they just have somebody there who totally doesn't understand, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like Drax
like
or
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, we're like Kevin
superhero.
Bacon, and I love like the little touches like
Or
that. in
like,
this
what
movie.
is music? And she's like shouting with the headphones on because she just hasn't used headphones
Yeah,
before.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. All the little things like that.
I think of all the Marvel movies, if I was to rewatch one, like a lot, it would be Guardians. I think it's the most rewatchable. It's Guardians of
It's
the Galaxy.
really easy going, isn't it?
This fucking movie, the soundtrack, the style, the visuals, like, oh man. It just got added to Netflix. Did you see that? Like,
Yes.
this week, it's been
Yeah.
added to Netflix. 4K fucking streaming, HDR, the color scheme, the visuals in this movie. Oh my lord.
It's like it is like a
Looks
comic book.
stunning.
Like up until this point, everything was super realism, believable universe. Even Avengers was still in that mold of you can see it, and then there's this is just like fucking. I've dropped all the primary
Off
colours
the
of
wall,
page.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing about this movie as well, like for me, right, Iron Man was always, oh my god, no one cared about Iron Man, and then they made the movie about Iron Man. No one cared about Thor or Captain America. Before they ever announced Iron Man was a movie, my 3 favorite Marvel heroes were Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. They were my favorites all my life.
Yeah.
So for me to see Iron Man become a hero, it was justified. I was like, yeah, Iron Man's awesome. How have you guys not cared about Iron Man before? I've liked Iron Man since I was 7 years old. Fuck you.
Goddamn.
I
Normie.
did not care about
What's-
Guardians
what's
of the
cool about
Galaxy.
this is they
I
took
did not care about Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody fucking cared about Rocket Raccoon.
nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I mean, 90% of the audience never knew who they were.
But I didn't give a fuck
What
about
what
them,
I
which
like,
is
yeah,
probably
what I like
worse.
though is like you got DC being all real moody and serious. Oh, we can't have our films looking like comics, and then Marvel's like, fuck you. Here's a raccoon with a fucking rocket launcher.
Two of their most popular films now have been like fucking comic books, comedy,
3,
full of color.
really.
But what's cool is you know the orb which contains the stone.
Mhm.
Kevin Feige, am I saying that right?
Feige.
Kevin Feige. He made because they're going about the plan when they're talking about the plan, maybe not being a great plan after all. Well, when they're all discussing it. Anyway.
When he has 12% of a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not a plan. They had that massive debate about it. Well, Kevin sent James Gunn a gift, and it was the orb from the film, mounted with a little plaque, and it says, "Turned out it was a good plan after all."
Well, that's awesome.
How cool is that? Because they literally, it was such a massive gamble because nobody knew anything about it, and the fact that skipping right to the end, the little fucking Easter egg at the end, probably some of the most unsuccessful Marvel attempt, Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Just fucking
Yeah,
sitting
I
there laughing
love that
in a nice
Easter egg,
fucking
like-
suede suit, laughing
Yeah.
up at the fact that it was probably their most successful film at the time. But yeah, should we do a break through it? Because I did my usual.
Yeah, Ben, walk us through the story, right? So we kick off with a scene that is difficult to watch, I think, for anybody.
Yeah, it is. I mean, especially with
fucking hell.
everything that's going on right now for a few of us, it got to me because it's done so well. And I mean, if you look at everything
really
James Gunn
is,
has
yeah.
done, because he did a series called PG Porn, where it was for people who like porn but without the sex. So it's just hilarious, but crude and corny comedy. But James Gunn, I think in the scene, handled it so well. And it was all about how Peter handles that tragedy, how he then goes on the rest of his life, all from that one moment, because it all comes back around where he opens the gift at the end, because she literally tells him, "Open it when I'm gone," and he never lets it go until the very end, where they're all holding the stone. And I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but after that, that's when he feels like he can accept it, and he opens the gift, which I think is brilliant. It just completes the arc across that thing. But
It's been it was alarming seeing this movie in the cinema for the first time and crying. It was not how I expected.
it was
Like
I
I'm
had a lump
sitting
in my
there,
throat.
crying my eyes out, and I'm like, "Fuck me."
Well, the song.
This is a comic book movie,
Yeah.
and I'm crying like you know.
One thing they did very well from there. So the scene ends awfully because he doesn't reach out for his mom, which I think is just the killer. And I can't remember the guy's name who plays his granddad. Fuck.
I recognise him though.
Yeah, he's been in loads of stuff. I mean, you'll probably see him in nearly everything. But so he doesn't reach out for his mum, and then she obviously passes, and he's heartbroken. He goes running out, and then he gets picked up by aliens, or so you're led to believe. One thing I think they did very well is they didn't do a harsh cut from that moment. They let it transition very nicely and die off because it's a powerful emotional moment. So he gets picked up by aliens who turns out to be Yondu and his crew of Ravagers.
And you don't find out why they do it until the second movie.
Exactly. Well,
But,
you
like,
briefly do.
The whole scene where she's like, your daddy was an angel and stuff was awesome.
Well, we won't mention the second movie, but there's a bit near the end of the film where they drop him back off, and Sean Gunn and Rucker are just in the window, and it's just pure exposition right there. And he says, it's a good job we didn't drop him off with his dad like we were hired to do when we picked him up. So it's literally...
I actually didn't even notice that this fourth time watching it, actually.
So anyway, it gets picked up from there, and then we fast forward to another world, and he's on his own ship, which looks like, by the way, awesome ship design. Looks like a muscle car.
What's the name of the ship again?
Milano, really like Alyssa Milano. Yeah.
Because his childhood crush was Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, it's very good.
Such a good little reference. So many 80s Easter eggs. And the fact that he's got like the troll doll and like all the little 80s artifacts in his ship is because that's what he had in his backpack when he was abducted.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah,
and that's what's so good about this.
Sorry, he actually had his backpack in the ship as well. That's something I noticed on this watch through. He is like hanging up in a little corner, the same backpack.
That's a good spot. That is a good spot, yeah.
So what I love about it though is that the movie can frame everything from this like 80s sci-fi because he was abducted in the 80s.
Yes.
So let's just have a load of 80s songs because that's all he had with him on his mixtape, you know? And I love that. And it's just such a good organic way to be like, oh, fuck it. I want to make a sci-fi movie with 80 songs.
That's exactly it. And I think if it was standalone, if it wasn't Marvel, the budget might have been a bit different. But I think it would have been one of the most underrated sci-fi films of the year if it was standalone, away from the Marvel MCU. But we go on to this planet, and he's obviously trying to seek out what we now know as the orb. And which stone is it?
It is the power stone.
So he's there to seek out the power stone. You don't know this at the time, but we know now. And he pulls out this bit of technology which he still has to tap and bang and kind of shake about for it to work properly, which I think is a nice touch. Which is literally every piece of 80s tech ever. That's how you managed to get it to work. And it gives him this, the tone's just dark. So it's a very dark tone. Nothing's going on. And I think, again, from the previous scene, it's a nice transition. So you haven't had this harsh cut to just instantly get over what's happened. Just nice, dark, stormy, rainy weather. And then he follows this hologram image. And by the way, there's a dog and a child playing in the hologram image of like a previous version of that world, previous civilization that's now gone. The dog is actually James Gunn's real dog.
Oh, cool.
So there's a cool little.
But he's like using this hologram, and it's kind of showing him like the past version of this world, almost like it's been ruined.
Exactly. So it gives him the location of the orb. So he heads down there. It literally highlights the path from, which I think was quite cool. It looks very very Tron-like. And then he gets this orb, throws the simplest bit of technology out to get it.
But he puts on his headphones right before that. When he's
of course, yeah, we missed out this.
And that's when the tone switches.
Yes,
isn't it? It's come and get your love or something like that, isn't it? That's the tune.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love now.
That's it. Yeah.
Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love now.
Nights.
And it's just like you suddenly, and then it comes up like smack on the screen. It goes Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is the first.
And he's dancing around and like kicks the fucking CGI critter,
and
it's just like, and you're like,
as a microphone, and
he's like singing into it and everything, and you're like, okay,
this is how this film is going.
Immediately, it's just like I'm on board. This guy hasn't spoken, this character, and I love him.
Yeah,
like, I wanna be that guy. I just like I'm in there, like I'm just. Oh my god!
Because that mask design as well, where he presses the button behind his ear, and the whole thing just dissolves back into its casing. It's just brilliant. But yeah, the title sequence was just James Gunn saying, "Yeah, fuck you all. I'm giving you a big plastered, colourful title, full on screen." No other Marvel film had done this up to this point. So we knew how it was going. But yeah, then he goes through nice little montage with the boots, little jet boots that you've got, and it sets the tone for his character and the film very nicely without anyone saying anything. Then we get into the orb room, where it's still in a holographic suspension force field style thing, and he throws down a super powerful magnet and drags it out. At which point he's held up by I never remember this guy's name, but he's held up by what's his name? The character.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But he's held up by an outlaw, which is hired by Ronan, who's the story's antagonist.
So is it an outlaw? It just feels like Ronan's. He's one of Ronan's
Yeah,
like main dudes.
One of his like,
yeah.
or
We'll call him his right hand man, I guess.
Sure.
So his right hand man's holding him up at gunpoint with a couple of, which I later found out are Sicarian soldiers, FYI, which is a reference to Ragnarok being Planet Hulk. I don't know how or why, I just know it is.
Because the planet in Thor Ragnarok that they end up in is Sicario.
I thought it was that. I was trying to find it before we came on, but
I watched Thor Ragnarok like 3 days ago for my third time.
I think we all just need to watch that once a week just to stay perky because it's just so cool.
Thor Ragnarok is
it's so good.
Best Marvel movie ever.
So yeah, he drags the orb out of the force, and then he's held up at gunpoint, guys. And then we find out how cool it can be, or how cool he thinks he is.
Who are you?
Because he asks him who he is, and he goes, "Well,
I'm Star."
Well, he goes, I'm Peter Quill, but you may know me by my other name," and he's totally smug. And he goes,
Yeah,
Star
Lord.
And then the guy goes,
"Who?"
Yeah. And then he just goes into instant disappointment.
Star-Lord.
Yeah. And then he just fucking shoots his way out of there after a whole.
He uses that device as well, where he throws like this grenade thing, and it like pulls them all in like gravity.
Yeah, they're like the grenades
style.
in Thor 2. You know, the throne disappears.
Yeah,
Well, they seem to kind of like hold people in and then like annihilate them. This was more just like a big magnet or something. But yeah, it was similar enough. Yeah.
Well, no, the first grenade he threw was it kind of.
Oh, sorry.
It disintegrated them as well.
Of course.
Sorry,
right.
where he's going into the ship and is making his getaway.
Of course.
He throws the magnet back down and it pulls them all in for some reason, even though they weren't affected by the law. Oh no! Actually, saying that, the magnet turned off when he picked the orb up, so they wouldn't have been attracted to the one in the little orb room. So anyway, he makes his escape on the ship, clumsy as fuck, after a hole's blown in the wall. Makes his escape, and he's hit by a water geyser?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it like knocks the ship up in the air.
So he's
and all
fucking
that crap.
flailing around all over the place and manages to stabilize himself, set himself. While the other guys are taking pot shots at him. I can't remember. And then we find out there's this woman. So in the first 10 minutes of the film, we find out everything we need to know about where he is in his life right now.
Yeah.
Because he's completely forgotten that this space babe, if you like, is still on his ship after he's just gone scavenging on a planet for the Power Infinity Stone. So she comes out and joins him, wondering what the fuck's going on. He can't even remember her name. What was her name, Carl?
Well, I can't remember her name.
Oh, whatever.
Oh wow.
It's
What was her
like
name?
I don't know. Maybe it was Alyssa.
No, I don't think it
No,
was.
it's not that.
No. 5 points for anyone who can guess it. So anyway, he takes a call from his phone's ringing and she answers it and he doesn't want to answer it because Yondu, who's set up this contract for this orb between the broker, who's this
Played by
what?
Michael Rooker, is that
No,
his name?
Yondu is, yeah, Michael Rooker.
Yeah. Who was from I got to know him from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Who played like the hillbilly like brother of that character everyone likes, Daryl. It's his fucking arm chopped off.
Yeah.
He's a fucking scumbag racist and he just plays the character so well. Yondu is such a great character, man.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
fantastic.
I think Michael Rooker
He's
plays
so
him well.
good. Jesus Christ, all the characters in this movie though, to be fair.
I don't
Anyway,
think any
go on.
character was given any kind of weak, but even John C. Reilly's character was great. I can't think of a shit character in this film.
Yeah, no, like
everyone was well
everyone
utilized.
was fantastic.
So he takes the call and figures out that he's going to betray him and cash in this orb. So it goes directly to Nova. Or is it Nova Corps? Nova Corps? It's Planet Nova.
Nova Corps are like the police force, right?
Yeah, that's all the government. Yeah, I think they're like the
it's
controlling faction.
Mhm.
So he goes down to Nova and he meets with the broker, who I don't know who it's played by. Played very well though, and there's a little back and forth between him about who.
No, it's not Nova. It's Xandar. Isn't it?
Xandar, sorry, yes.
Do you know what that guy looks like? The one he talks to. He
Mm.
looks like the guy from Fifth Element. Who pieces Lilo back
does.
together.
He does.
It could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
him.
yeah.
I'm gonna have a look now.
Guy's name is Christopher Fairbanks.
Oh, that's so it could be, yeah, because he's got title credits as well. Him, he's a
Okay.
he's a big guy, big fish. So he goes and he betrays him. But in the meantime, we've got our introduction to Ronan, who's this. He's kind of like the bad guy in Deadpool, which I know is a bit outside of the MCU, where he's just got one objective. He's a bit one-dimensional. I guess he's kind of like the bad guy in Thor 2 as well, Malekith, where he's
Do you know,
got
I can't even remember the bad guy in Deadpool. That's how one-dimensional he was. Like, I actually
Really?
Francis.
struggling to remember.
Francis, yeah.
because he spells his name out in
Ajax.
bodies, doesn't he?
No,
Yeah, Ajax. Sorry, yeah, but yeah, his real name's Francis.
no, I don't remember that at all.
But they're just one-dimensional, one objective to completely destroy at all costs. So that's Ronan's objective.
It is
and
that guy
he's-
from Fifth Element, by the way.
It is.
So it's unclear in this movie a little bit, but the whole thing about Ronan is that his race is called the Kree,
Hmm.
and they were at war with Xandar
Yes.
for centuries, thousands of years, and recently the Kree and the Xandarians formed this signed this peace treaty,
Yes.
and he feels that his whole civilization were fucked in this peace treaty. So he's like, actually, I'm like this Kree extremist
Yeah,
who's like going to go and
call them, don't they?
a Kree fanatic, and I'm just gonna fuck everyone up.
Hmm.
And it's never really mentioned much. Like, you never see any other Krees in the movie. You don't see the planet at all.
You see one guy, which interestingly is the guy who does Darth Maul's voice. There you go.
What, all two lines?
Peter Seraphim, can't pronounce it. Peter Seraphim.
Serafinowicz.
That's the guy.
Oh, I thought it was the guy who played the Kree guy on the phone call with Glenn
No.
Close.
No, Peter Seraphim. He's the guy who does Darth Maul's voice.
What's his name again?
Shut up, Peter.
What? But
Okay.
Darth Maul literally says two
Yeah.
things.
At last we'll have our
What's in-
revenge.
Avenge, the Sith have.
I thought you meant
tight
Guardians.
buttholes.
He's also in Black Books. Fran
Yeah,
Is
it's
he?
great.
Yeah. and
So,
Space.
um,
Wayne Bensley.
so we also see, so in the meantime, we see Ronan, and then we see the two daughters of Thanos who are acquainting themselves with Ronan, which is Nebula
Be-
and
So Ronan is working for this Titan called Thanos.
Hmm.
Basically, he wants revenge, and Thanos is like, "I'll help you out if you fetch for me, in part, the Infinity Stones." Basically,
yeah. So he
Okay.
discovers the fact that Star-Lord has this Infinity Stone because his right-hand man failed to get it off him. So he sends one of Thanos' daughters, who are given to him, if you like, to do his bidding. And he wants to send off Nebula, who's played by Karen Gillan,
who we
which I didn't
just
know
mentioned, yeah.
for ages. It was her.
That was a big Comic-Con reveal. Was that she went to Comic-Con and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're from Doctor Who," and she she was wearing a wig.
Yeah.
And she pulled off her wig in Comic-Con to reveal she'd shaved her head for the part, and everyone lost their fucking
Yeah.
minds.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that after.
And then you've got Zoe Saldana playing fuck, I can't remember her name.
Gamora.
Gamora, that's
Gamora.
it.
He's the name of an orc in World of Warcraft, as far as
And Nebula wants to go down and get it. And shit, I'm the daddy. So she runs down to Xandar to fetch the stone from Star-Lord. So whilst he's in the shop talking to the broker, trying to figure out who it belongs to and who made the sale and who brokered the deal and who the buyer is, he gets kicked out of the store and the deal's off because he was something out of, what was it, 50,000 credits, 60,000 credits. So a big payoff, I believe, it was made out to be. And then outside the shop is Gamora waiting, and they have a little bit of an introduction to each other, and he tries to be ultra smooth, and she kicks him and nicks the orb. And then what ensues is this cool little action sequence where we get introduced between what she's capable of and who she is, what Star-Lord again is capable of, But also,
And also,
we get Rocket and Groot as well, who are just, from what I can make out, bounty hunters and just scanning around looking for targets of who they can hunt and cash in. And they find Stan Lee in there, who plays Dirty Old Man in this one. And then he finds Star-Lord, and is because Yondu put a bounty on his head when he ended the phone call to say, let's fuck him over because he's just stolen our deal. So he puts a bounty on his head for about 60,000 credits or 50,000, whatever. And Rocket sees it and decides to go after him as well.
Do you know what that part reminds me of? When we're playing Elite Dangerous, like doing bounties in space, and there's like, there's one, let's fucking get them.
Yeah, just spin around on the spot scanning it. Oh, there's a big number. Let's go.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So Rocket and Groot go after Star-Lord and accidentally capture Gamora a little bit, and then they all eventually get captured by the police after quite a funny and character driven, because it's great. You've got Groot, who's just this clumsy lurch, and then who's really powerful, if you like. Then you've got Gamora, who's just ultra military trained, ultra capable, and then you've got the goofball Star-Lord, who's just throwing gadgets at her and clumsily making his way through. So he attaches his little fucking jet ski boot thing to her, which I think is great. But then you've got Rocket, who's just a big fucking gun on a little raccoon. And then they all get arrested. And that's where we're introduced to their little lineup bit as they're going through, and the voice of Darth Maul. So then we have Gamora. By the way, on her little stats, further on in the film where she's out in space, potentially dying. There's a little thing on her when she's going through the prisoner intake, and it says that she has respiratory implants enhanced in a little biometric scan. So that's why she's able to stay out there so long.
Yeah. Well, they actually say that. I think it was that she won't survive out there for long, even with her body mods or something. I can't remember.
Is that what they say?
Yeah,
when she's actually out there.
I think Rocket says it when they're out there in the little pods.
So he's covered his bases twice then.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a cool little detail. Then there's also
it's good because it's not like it's not universe breaking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a few questionable bits about the science, but forgivable. I think he did enough of it. So then we go. So then they get sent off to this mass prison. And we also see Glenn Close called someone a prick, which I thought was really good. And I think it's the only time I've been in the cinema and everyone's laughed at Glenn Close in unison before, because she just called him a prick after he hung up. But it's delivered brilliantly. And then we see them get sent off to this high security prison called Kiln.
The Kiln, yeah.
Yeah, they get sent off to the Kiln. And everybody knows who they are.
Everybody knows Gamora, right?
Everybody knows Gamora, yeah. And I think a few people are after Star-Lord. I don't know why though, because there's a guy who comes up to him who, as they're going through the intake.
I think that was pretty much just a fresh meat situation.
Yeah, he's just a guy saying like, I'm gonna bum you later or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then Groot sticks him up the nose. Do you know who that guy was? I'll take that as a no. It was Nathan Fillion.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Who's really good friends with James Gunn.
Oh, okay.
So he literally got all of his fucking mates in this film. So Nathan Fillion plays that guy.
Of course.
But yeah, and then they establish themselves as not to be messed with. Doesn't really help Gamora, because then she gets taken because everybody wants Gamora because they know she's the daughter of Thanos. So she gets sent into, she goes to a little private cell, but everybody's after her. And then we get introduced to Drax, who's heavily invested because Ronan killed his mother and daughter. So he's after her. He just wants to blindly kill her. So while they're going through the day events, and I can't remember if there's anything worth mentioning other than skipping right to the bit where Drax is trying to kill Gamora, which I think is brilliant because Star-Lord...
Sorry, we get the scene where the guard tries to take his Walkman, and
that's right.
Yeah, you kind of get a reminder of how important that is to him, and the just kind of the connection that he has. You get a little reminder of the initial scene and where he came from.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's kind of that's his only link while he's going through
yeah.
this entire film. That's his only link back to his mother. So it obviously had loads of importance. So he sneaks into that cell just before the door shuts, and then the guys, as he's listening to the music, just stabbing him with the electric rod. And even when he goes down, he's still stabbing him, which I think was quite funny.
Yeah.
So then he sees that they've all got hold of Gamora, and the guards have obviously just let the guys in to take her and kill her. And he goes out to save her, or out to try and save her. And there's this little weed who is trying to take the kill, and Drax stops him. And while he's trying to go for the kill, Star-Lord is trying. I can't keep calling him Star-Lord. Peter, or we call him Chris. Chris Pratt. Chris is now trying to convince Drax, who is completely literal, that he doesn't need to kill her. He needs to go after Ronan because she's betrayed him.
Or the part of wild ass slide my finger across his throat.
Oh yeah, just so brilliant. Where he's just like, and then you can, and then he just slides his finger across. Why would I slide my finger across my face? No, and then he says to the guy, you know what it is? Like universe symbol for killing. He's like, yeah, yes, and then he looks at Drax, and Drax looks at him, and he goes, no. Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, he eventually convinces them to let her live, but he has to hang around with them. So then they're trying to figure out a plan of escape, and this is where Rocket's little comedy comes in. So he lays out what he needs from everybody, and they're all around this table, and you've got Groot, who is just bored. You've got Drax, who's watching Groot, and the remaining three are just sat around this table trying to come up with an escape plan of what to do. So while this is happening, Groot goes off and actually starts the plan. So they get rushed into this moment of an escape.
Scene.
Yeah, so they get into this little pod in the prison, and there's a little moment where they go in there, and they're all stood there in the entrance as the guard's trying to make his last security call. And the music that kicks in is just like the Avengers, where they do the little spinny round moment in New York, which I thought was quite good. But the guy who does the music for this, guy called Tyler Bates, who did the score to Watchmen and Sucker Punch. And if you've ever seen those films, which you probably have, the soundtracks for those films are just made up of great songs.
Yeah.
And his score, it's like he's the guy they go to put a score around films with great music in.
He's got all the licenses for all the good songs.
Well, he's the guy who doesn't interrupt songs. So he gets hired, and all the good songs stand out, and his music's in the background. But some of the music he does, like the bit with Groot towards the end, is great. The bit at the very beginning, there's loads of bits
the
he
real
does.
kind of atmospheric music that is.
Yeah, there's some great bits. There's some great bits that he does. So they're in this orb making their escape, and Rocket is just winging this plan. There's a great little joke about how Drax's people don't get metaphors; they just go straight over their head, and he says, "Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I will catch it," which is just brilliant.
Also, just like as a note, fantastic fucking acting job from Dave Bautista, considering not exactly I don't think it was his first role in like a big movie, but I mean I think it was definitely his most notable.
It was also in Riddick before that one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just came out. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, The Rock's done some good films. I think it was the first to lay the path for people to come from that industry. But
missing Hulk Hogan from fucking Suburban Commando.
Well, would you call him successful? I don't know. If you call him successful.
Fucking Hulkamania, yeah.
So
now listen here, brother.
I think the first successful guy, because he can really act. I mean, he's really good. And even his performance in Blade Runner,
I was going to say that as well, because when I heard he was going to be in it, I thought, why have they picked him? But no, he played it really good.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
He is a fantastic actor, and I can't wait to see how he goes over the next 10 years, because some of the stuff you can think of him being in is just brilliant, and because of the presence he's got as well.
Within the first 3 years of him becoming an actor, well, not 3, but 6 to 7 years of him becoming an actor, he's been in some serious titles. So like it's great.
Yeah, I just think he's gonna have a great career. Especially, I mean, now he's got stuff like this under his belt. He can pretty much do what he wants.
Oh, for sure.
He's been in the latest kickboxer films as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, which got good praise as well. The new Kickboxer, it got really well reviewed. Averages 8 out of 10, I think. I haven't seen it yet, but that's one to watch. So they've made their escape by rocket reprogramming the little shanks from Destiny to lift the pod off, and
He wanted the leg.
yeah, and he wanted the
Of course,
I
leg,
thought that was
leg.
hilarious.
which is
Classic.
great because there's a little scene where there's all this anarchy going off with batteries being stolen, guns being shot, shanks being blown up and respawning from little dark rooms, and then Peter Quill's in a cell with the guy with the leg, just trying to negotiate the leg really quietly, and the guy's like, "You want my what?" Which I think is just great. And then they go back into the action. It's running up the thing with the leg. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even need that. That was just for a joke. I mean, was it funny to see him hobbling around on one leg?" He's like, "It cost me 30."
I did love the cameo as well
What was the
of Nathan Fillion.
You did know the cameo of Nathan Fillion?
No, I loved it.
Oh, the blue guy.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big blue guy who Groot puts the roots up his
Yeah,
nose. That
With
scene.
the
That's
fresh
Nathan
meat guy,
Fillion.
that's
Yeah,
mad.
which I thought was pretty cool.
I did.
There's because he's good friends with James Gunn as well. He's done stuff.
Well, there's an episode of PG Palm with him, wasn't he?
Yeah. Did you know James Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead, the remake?
He also
Yes, I did know that.
did Lollipop Chainsaw, the game.
Ah, look at that. It gets about. So anyway, they've made their escape, and they're then on their way to. This is where are they on their way to the vent? They're on their way to the broker, aren't they? No, the collector. So
Yeah, the
Gamora.
collector. So Gamora has a guy that she knows will be interested.
That's right. So they're all on the ship. There's a great joke in there where because they're trying to get directions to where they're going. She won't tell them, saying you're going in the right direction. But she says to him, "Your ship is disgusting," and she walks off. And then he looks around at the guys and he just goes, "Oh my gosh, she doesn't know the half of it. If I had a black light, this place would light up like a Jackson Pollock painting."
Yeah.
And I think when I was in the cinema, there were 3 people laughing at that joke. It was me, Carl, and Emily.
It wasn't me because I
Nobody
didn't go to
else.
pictures to see it.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
I was with somebody then. Somebody
It
shot
wasn't
and
fucking
bowled.
me. It must have been someone, one of the other friends.
I don't have any other
Ben
friends.
doesn't have any other friends.
Anyway, so there was basically me and Emily laughing at that joke. Next to nobody else. So they then arrive at Nowhere, which I think is such a cool place. This massive, giant head world that's been mined from an old celestial.
Of a celestial,
Of a
which
celestial, yes.
we will meet another of in the next movie.
Yes, of course. And I did think maybe there was a link there, a direct link, but then I thought maybe not. Because of, without spoiling the second one, it could have been. So, yeah, so they arrive at this place Nowhere where it's just mines to fuck for these rare resources, and it's now this big, it's basically like Las Vegas. It's just a fucking dive, and then where all the bad stuff happens. And they go and meet, they go into this little area, basically just a bar with a gambling game in there, and to meet the collector. I don't want to get too lost in the little details in between. There's a nice little bit between Gamora and Peter Quill where she's listening to music and figuring out what that is, and he tells her the tale of Footloose, which I thought was really funny.
A hero.
very,
There's a
very
legend
funny.
called.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like the melody is pleasant.
Yeah, and she's screaming at him. But yeah, and then she attempts to kill him when he goes in for a kiss. But I thought the song there was great as well. I fooled around when I fell in love. That's a good one.
Yeah, great tune.
The soundtrack for this, as soon as I saw this film, I just downloaded it on Spotify straight away. So good.
Me too.
So
But I
anyway,
didn't download it on Spotify. I streamed it on Spotify.
yes, I did both. I downloaded it so I could have it offline as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's an
committed.
option. So then they get introduced to the Collector, played by our favorite Star Wars character Benicio del Toro.
Benicio.
But I think at this point, this is the first time the film kind of serious and back in the MCU.
It's like let's do some plot development.
Yes.
Do some
and,
business.
Because there's a great bit where they land in a.
Bit of exposition.
They realize this world is just a trash can of society, and Drax says, "There's nothing on here. What am I meant to do in this horrible wasteland?" and then it literally cuts to him screaming at that gambling rat-eating game. It's like screaming, oh, yeah, yeah. And it's just brilliant. Great cut. And then they're all fighting amongst themselves, and that's where they get introduced to the collector.
Allow us to put more of this liquid inside our bodies.
Yeah. And then Benicio del Toro rocks up, and there is fuckloads of stuff in that room. Some notable stuff was like there was a Shatari in there. There was the Russian dog.
Dark Elf.
The Shatari is what now exactly?
That's the elves from Thor 2.
Yeah, Thor 2. There was a dark elf there. Yeah, and there was the dog with the spacesuit.
Yeah,
Cosmo?
the CCCP.
Yeah.
But
I think it's Cosmo, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
Cosmo.
Yes.
Who is a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comic books?
Is he really? Didn't know that.
He is.
But yeah, it's a sweet shot basically and stuff. But
You're the
it's a
girl
full
in that
list.
scene as well, whose name I can't remember. She was also in Nathan Barley.
Cool little tidbit.
Very good series written by Charlie Brooker and Chris Morris. If you've not seen it, highly recommend it.
Never.
So we
it's-
get
watch it. Fucking great.
Okay.
it's all right. So then there's a bit where Chris Pratt takes the orb out of his knapsack, not a purse, and he goes to hand it to the collector, and he actually drops the orb, and that was confirmed as not scripted, and he actually dropped it in a take as he was
really?
lifting it up.
Okay.
So they kept it because it just
That's
fit
great.
his character perfectly.
Yeah, it
That
was
there's
great.
this
It kind of
real-
broke the tension a little bit. That's
Exactly.
the style of this movie, though. It kind of builds up in a kind of stereotypical, up to this point anyway, Marvel movie way, and then it's just like breaks it with a little bit of comic relief or a little like a song or anything. It's great.
Yeah, exactly that, and it just hit his character type on the head. He's just the goofball in even the most serious moments. Yeah, it was hilarious. I was in stitches. Just something as little simple as that. So anyway, while that's being opened, we get a little insight into some previous Celestials, very Watchmen style, I might add, of these little discs flashing back into the different ages and galaxies of across the universe. I'm sure there's something a bit more specific in there, but he's basically giving him a exposition lesson on what it is as this orb is being
Before the
opened.
creation of the universe, there was 5 singularities.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking
And
sense.
then they were put into
because a
ingots
black
or
hole is a
something.
singularity.
Yeah.
Black holes aren't uncommon. 5 singularities is quite a small amount
I mean,
of singularities.
where are we in the film list now? This is how many films have we watched now? Like 8, 9 films,
Uh-huh.
and this is the first time they've explained what the Infinity Stones are.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you go and look at the other movies, they never, the Tesseract played a big part, but as the Tesseract, not as the Infinity Stone of Space.
Up to this point, it doesn't really matter what they are. It's just they're sort of just plot
It's just a
devices.
plot
But it's
point,
great
yeah.
that
Plot
we get
device, yeah.
here and they've managed to bind it all together and say, oh, by the way, all this other shit we've been sprinkling through these other films is all about this. So it kind of just throws it all in your face at once, which I think is pretty cool for everybody who then will invest in the next 10 films, just to get it. So then we get this lovely history lesson. It gives them exactly what it is, and everyone's shitting themselves because they think actually maybe you shouldn't have this. And then the girl who's a slave to him, the cleaner, and he's treated her horribly, grabs the power stone and she basically starts to dissolve and then explode. One cool little thing is when he offers to buy Groot's carcass when he's dead,
Yeah.
and Groot, by the looks of it, accepts his offer of you must let me pay you now to have your carcass upon your death or whatever. But I thought it was quite cool. So they all realize after that happens that they can't let anybody get hold of that stone, so they take it away, not to be used on that planet, and then they do a runner. In the meantime, Drax has gone off and fucking given Ronan a phone with a GPS tag, a geo tag, and said, "Come get me."
Because he wants to fight.
Yeah, he's just checked in on Foursquare because he wants to fight with Ronan, who killed his family. So all these fuckers turn up, and then all hell breaks loose with Ronan just trashing, or Ronan's guys trashing everyone while Ronan is fighting with Drax briefly, and Drax gets his ass kicked. I mean, we know how powerful Drax is now, feared and revered he is, and then Ronan just walks over him like he's nothing. He even tells him that he doesn't even remember anything about him and how pathetic he is until the very end when he's about to kill him. Or try to kill him. And then the other guys are trying to flee with, except for Groot and Rocket, they're still there. Gamora and Chris try to do a runner and an escape with the orb, and Nebula's obviously on the hunt for Gamora. I think there's one bit we've missed probably early on where, you know, the other one where Ronan gets summoned to
see Thanos.
To see Thanos.
Of course, yeah.
And bear in mind the other one made Loki quake in his boots, and he feared this guy almost. And Ronan just twists his head off with his fucking little jab of his hammer in midair.
Right. Yeah,
just gone. So that kind of, for people who picked up on that kind of made people think, fucking hell, Ronan's a tough guy. But he also decides to not go. I think that's probably the first part of his plan, to deceive Thanos as well, and take the stone for himself. Just by the way he's playing it, he doesn't say it there.
Do you prefer the way Thanos looks in that scene there to what the new Avengers is portraying him as?
He's changed his appearance a lot.
Like that one, you can tell it's from the comic. In the new one,
yeah,
it looks too.
When the new one looks like he's from the comics,
but it looks a bit too real touch.
Yeah, they probably did mocap for the new one.
He looks
different in this than he does at the end of Avengers.
Yeah.
He looks different in this than he does in Avengers 2 post-credit scenes as well. Like, they just kind of messed around with his appearance.
Is this the point where they didn't know Josh Brolin's going to play him, or was Josh Brolin?
No, Josh Brolin voiced him in Avengers 1. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
So yeah, there's that little plot point where Ronan decides to keep the stone for himself rather than giving it to Thanos to destroy the planet. So he makes away with the stone, or rather Nebula makes away with the stone. But in the meantime, Gamora's thrust into space. Can I just say as well, Moon Age Daydream as they arrive at nowhere. Great song. Awesome that it just fucking cuts straight to the solo. But anyway, she's floating around in space, and Chris Pratt decides he can't just watch her die. So Rocket goes back and tries to go back into nowhere and escape. And Chris Pratt leaves his ship, his little mining ship, and he transfers his mask to Gamora so she can at least breathe. And there's question marks around the science behind it, but you know, we've got a fucking walking talking tree. There's loads of shit wrong with it. So you can't really hunker down on the fact that he probably would have boiled his blood as soon as he took a breath.
Yeah, I mean,
sure
I like this movie so much, I'm just willing to gloss over it. Whatever, you know. It's
yeah. So he.
Well, also there shouldn't be sound in space, but like whatever.
Yeah. So there's a bit where just before he leaves, he gives Yondu, and then he bails out, gives her the mask, and within seconds of him giving her that, his face starts to freeze, which again I don't think actually happens. And he gets taken into Yondu's ship.
But he knew, right, that Yondu was going to abduct him.
Yes, because he wanted to kill him, and he had the bounty on him. He betrayed him, so
he broadcast the signal right before he jumped out of the ship.
Yeah.
There was a bit earlier where somebody triggers him off. I can't remember who it was.
The broker, the guy that was gonna.
That was it. So the broker tells them that obviously he's heading to where the buyer is because he knew who the buyer was. And there's a bit where Yondu's trying to find out where he is, and right where he asks him a second time is where it cuts to the collector in nowhere. So in direct response to Yondu asking the broker who is the buyer, it cuts to the collector. So your instinct is that he's told him it's the collector. So that's how Yondu knew he was in nowhere and he could get to his location so quick, because his exact coordinates were seconds from where they all were anyway. So it's a nice little, tidy little plot point, but just great writing from James Gunn, I think. So
but James Gunn did write this, right?
He did, yeah. He wrote it with a guy. What's the name? Monica Perlman. I want to say Sarah Perlman, Maria Perlman, someone like that. Who hasn't done a lot. She was consultant on Thor, and I think she's also she worked on Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with him. But primarily, yeah, it was James Gunn's screenplay and his story. So they get back on the ship and they both come. and they get a nice little monologue from Peter Quill, and he's explaining how heroic he is. And it's a nice moment right up until, again, he breaks the seriousness with a little goofball moment of telling him how heroic he was for her, and he couldn't let her die. And she just rolls her eyes and gets up. So Yondu's pissed, and then they decide to, after beating him up a little bit and threatening to kill him, to go after a bigger score and try and get the orb back, and the fact that it's extremely fucking dangerous. So they conjure up a plan, and then I'm paraphrasing a bit.
And they do their fucking badass suit up moment.
They do the badass
we've
suit
all
up
been
moment.
waiting for.
Was it Cherry?
There's that slow motion where they're like, to Cherry Bomb,
Yeah.
and they're like adjusting the tightness of their pants.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and Gamora's
it's
yawning,
so good.
and Quill's fucking wiping his nose and sniffing.
That's the only song that I don't like on the soundtrack.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cherry Bomb. I think I would like the song if it wasn't used everywhere all the fucking time. I'm sick of hearing that song.
So they're coming up with a plan, which is an awesome scene, and it's the pivotal moment for their little teamwork and their little gang and how they finally all come around. Because if you look through the film, there's moments where either they've witnessed self-sacrifice or they've done something to save the other across the little group of them. So they're all aware of what the other is capable of and willing to do, which I think is done really well because it's not blindingly obvious in each and every little moment. But it ties up nicely in that scene, and it's great character development and great writing. And Bradley Cooper, who's actually, his mocap was done by Sean Gunn, not by Bradley Cooper. He literally just did the voice. But
wow.
Sean Gunn gave like a visual reference for everybody on set who plays
Who's
Yondu's
James Gunn's
yeah,
brother.
he plays Yondu's right-hand man.
Yeah, there's actually a great picture of Dave Bautista just petting him at the very end of the movie.
There. Yeah. I've seen that. That's good. So they come up with this plan, and it's where the percent plan comes in. And then there's great comedy again between all of them. But they eventually all come to helping each other out. And then they go and execute the plan. They go down to Xandar, and they basically try and blow a hole in the side of the ship, get in there and attack Ronan with this awesome, almost warhead-style missile launcher that Rocket has built. And they warn Nova as well. They warn,
which in any fucking movie other than this movie would have been the ultimate weapon they used to win.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in this, of course, just nothing goes
Well,
according
the
to
only
plan.
thing it does, and I don't know if you noticed early on, it just has like indent circle mark on his chest.
Yeah, it blasts through his armor. I was
like
that was
the
his
first
skin
layer
below.
or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, he's untouched. But I love the way that after that, Drax still fancies his chances and runs after him to have a go. And then he just fucking gets picked up and thrown out. But it's at that point Rocket comes blasting in. And in the meantime, the guys who from the Xandar army who were warned of them arriving by Chris Pratt, who admits he's an asshole, but is not 100% a dick to John C. Reilly, which I think was great. Because I just in my head I could just see John C. Reilly saying that line to Glenn Close, who's just like such a high caliber actress, and there's John C. Reilly just saying that. It's just sort of brilliant.
Yeah.
I just thought that's James Gunn in his head thinking this will be hilarious if he says this to Glenn Close.
And then John C. Reilly's line, well, I'm not sure if anyone's 100% a dick. It's great.
Yeah. It's just
it's so clever.
I mean, he's a great character, and he has what, 8 lines?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, their army readies up and produces this game of squares where they're all just winning because it's all yellow, creating this force field, preventing the ship from landing. At the same time, it's like an Independence Day style dogfight where there's just loads of them and loads of the bad guys facing off. So we're back in with Ronan, and Rocket comes smashing through and decides to blow a hole in the ship. Now,
with his ship.
Yeah, with his ship, which is actually Chris Pratt's ship, which is the Milano. But I can't remember if it's that bit which triggers the ship to then go down because they blow up the 2 necropilots. Is that right? Because they're in the room with him, the 2 necropilots. Because there's a big fight between Gamora and Nebula as well. And Nebula just fucks off. She's not interested in being...
No, it's when they destroy the control room, when he crashes in.
Yes, because it opens the door, doesn't it? There's we've missed the scene with Groot and the evil right-hand man as well. and then there's the fight with
Oh, he just kicks
Yondu.
the shit out of him.
Yeah, there's fucking loads of action scenes going on, but they're delivered so well.
Yondu, can we just talk for a second about Yondu and his like whistly thing?
Oh,
Yeah.
the arrow.
What
Yondu's
a
arrow-
fucking
arrow.
weapon! So fucking cool
Yeah.
though. Like as a weapon, like he controls it with whistling, and the way like there's that scene where he crash lands and he's surrounded by Ronin's
it's like
troops, and
20
they're like
dudes,
everywhere.
yeah.
And he just has that scene where he just whistles and just fucking annihilates them. Like, what a great idea for a weapon! Like so badass, but in a very eloquent kind
It's
of
got
way.
its own little personality almost. It doesn't even make a noise, but it's just kind of like a little cool weapon you would always associate with him. Yeah, exactly.
It's like Robin Hood in space, isn't it? Just one arrow.
Yeah.
But it's cool how he just takes them quick. And there was a guy I was watching who said, if you were being attacked by something, you would likely defend yourself against the something rather than the person controlling it. Like if you see it in films all the time where people get a bag stuck over their head to be suffocated. They always go for the bag. They never go for the guy who's controlling the bag.
Yeah, for the guy who's
Yeah,
controlling
they always go for the bag. So it was that kind of thing. These guys were trying to just either get out of the way or defend themselves from the arrow. That's why the first guy who's killed is still standing when the last guy's killed, and then they all just drop, which I think is a nice little touch. But yeah, it just shows how much of a badass Yondu is.
Yeah, but basically, Ronin's ship is coming down, right?
Mhm.
And there's certain death. They're gonna die, basically, on impact, if not for.
Yes, which again goes back to Tyler Bates and his score, which I think this is probably him at his peak, when this moment where Groot decides to create this little shell for them all to be in. It's a nice little moment because Chris is holding Rocket, isn't he? After he's crashed the ship.
Yeah,
Peter Quill, sorry,
carries
he's
him
holding
over.
Rocket.
Yeah.
And then there's Gamora's dragging Drax in, I believe, because he's just had shit kicked out of him by Ronin again. And then there's just Groot, who's just growing all these arms. And there's a little bit where he plucks a little seedling off himself, by the way. Not in that bit, I think it's earlier on.
Oh, it's when they're in the skull in nowhere.
Yeah, he takes a little sapling off himself, and that's what grows back. Not just a random twig that Rocket picks up.
Oh,
It's
really?
that little sapling he
Didn't
takes
notice
off.
that.
I can't remember the exact moment where he does it, but that's what grows back.
But does Rocket like take the sapling that he pulls
So
off?
he
Oh.
gets the sapling. So it must have been before
Oh.
this moment where he starts growing all these extra branches and shields them all from the crash. Both me and
So awesome though, and so emotional. Like I was like, no, not Groot.
And
Yeah.
then we are Groot. You're like,
Oh,
oh
God, yeah.
boy.
because he's just so set up to be almost the one. He's impatient. He's grumpy. He's aggressive. He's got probably more personality than most of the other characters. And he says 5 words by the end of the film, 5 different words. But yeah, so they all crash, and then Groot is gone, and a bit where Rocket's just picking up random sticks, and it's called him a dumb tree or whatever he calls him. But yeah, again, great writing by James. So they crash land, sacrifice loads of the soldiers, and because it was the Milano that crashed, the tape deck is playing "Ooh Child."
Ooh, child, things are
Now,
gonna get
this is where I have a little
easier.
issue with this film, and both Emily and me thought of this. That was a big fucking ship, and if that had crashed into that city, or a city anywhere near that size, it would have been fucking decimated. But
I don't know,
within
man.
seconds,
You seem to be basing this on the physics that you know
Yeah.
of planet Earth and the gravitational forces that you're used to with Earth.
Yeah,
This is alien
the
planets.
a very
gravity
good
could
point.
be almost nothing there. Could
But I
just
just thought
skid along.
it was amazing that this.
They could have artificial gravity in their cities because the gravity of the actual planet is quite low.
So I thought it was strange that after it had crashed and they were almost killed, that there's just this massive crowd of people. It's like Marvel's special move when there's been a crash. There's a massive crowd of people straight after.
True.
Anyway,
Given that they had also evacuated the whole city as well, bit of a plot hole.
yeah, exactly. So there's this massive crowd, and then to break, and there's like smoke everywhere, and the dust is settling, and Roland comes out, and he's given this massive thing about destroying, because he's put the Infinity Stone in his hammer, which we missed actually, didn't we? That's where he threatens Thanos. He takes the stone, he smashes it into his hammer, takes the power. But yeah, he's about to swing his hammer down and destroy Xandar when Chris Pratt just starts dancing. Throughout the dance off, because they're all on the floor looking around, and they all know, yeah, we've got to create a distraction here. So he just starts dancing to "Ooh Child," and then he tries
Ooh, child.
while he's doing his little locking and popping, he tries to throw it to Gamora, who just stands there and looks at it, which is just great. And then he goes, and he's like subtle, and then like takes it back, and he's carrying on dancing, and he's like, what are you doing? But he's lost all that epicness of his voice, and he's super confused about what the fuck's going on. He's like, dance off, baby, you and me.
So
it's
good.
just, it's like the ultimate subversion.
I remember just like actually erupting in laughter at that scene. Like, it was just so perfect.
Yeah, and like for me, it's kind of the like quintessential tension break that this movie does all the time. You know, you've got him coming out of the ship that he should have died in. You know, like this big crash, and he just comes out of the wreckage, and he's relatively unscathed, other than a patch of his armor missing from the Hadron Enforcer or something like that. The weapon the Rocket built, and then he's coming out and he gives this crazy speech, and the tension is at a high, and then boom, he just breaks it like in the most ridiculous way, but like dancing and singing, and you're like, what is happening?
I just hope that there was no any kind of choreography or anything. It was just like James Gunn dance.
Just goes, okay, now you dance.
Yeah, and he's just grabbing his own ass and fucking thrusting, and it's just brilliant. I bet on set they were just in stitches constantly.
You'd have to be, I think so.
Can we just jump back a little bit as well? There's a bit with Groot where they get hoarded as they're about to go into the main room of the ship, and this massive line of troops come running through, and Groot just stabs them all at once.
Oh yeah, and like lifts them all up and
smashes
just ruins
the fuck out of them, which is funny to start, but then it gets quite disturbing and brutal, and there's just every fucker's just dying.
Oh yeah, it keeps going. It goes on for like an extra 10 seconds longer than you think it.
Yeah, too long. And then he pulls his arm back in, and everyone's like looking at him, and gives the cheekiest smile ever.
Yeah,
it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Such a fucking beast, like.
Yeah. And then so they're having this massive dance off, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then he finally says, "I'm distracting you, you big dummy," or whatever he says.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I deliberately noted the insult he said because I thought it was hilarious, and I can't remember.
Yeah, it's something like "you big dingus" or something.
Yeah.
You big doofus. Is he big doofus? Because it's just so ridiculous. And then they shoot the hammer with the missile launcher, the Hadron Destroyer, whatever you want. And it shatters. Obviously, the Power Stone's fine, but the hammer's destroyed. So in super slow motion, Chris Pratt's already diving towards the stone. Like they all knew what was going to happen. So he's diving towards it, and he manages to grab hold of it before Ronan does, and then it kicks off into that massive kind of ball of explosion and purple. And it's this moment where he finally accepts the passing of his mum, because he's struggling to hold all this power of this stone, and then Gamora's there reaching out with a hand, and he visualizes asking to take his hand. So he reaches out finally, grabs Gamora. It's very like visual metaphors going on here, but it's the bit where he accepts it, grabs Gamora. The power kind of subdues a little bit in him. She takes the strain. They're all still screaming. Then Drax comes along, which I gotta say is a bit fucking the acting in there, where he's like slamming his hand on him. Not his best, but still, I'll forgive him. He slams his hand on him. It's getting fucking real epic. There's fucking cloud everywhere. There's purple smoke. Fucking skin peeling off. Music's going crazy. And then finally you see Rocket's little hand reaching up to Drax. As soon as he grabs Drax's finger, everything just calms. Like they've reached a peak.
It stabilizes.
And you just got this like super chills moment where a second ago you were crying because Groot had just sacrificed himself for the group, and then now it's like happy tears.
But it's made them come together, like it's unified them, and oh, what a fuck!
It was this. These are the Guardians, because they're referenced just before as the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're all fucking laid down
of the freaking galaxy.
And then
sorry, the insult was turd blossom.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think there's outtakes somewhere where he throws loads of different insults at him.
Yeah, I actually
that sounds like something a 10-year-old would say, and seeing as though he's not been on Earth for like 26 years, you can see why he'd say that.
Yeah,
That's a
true.
very good
true.
Yeah,
point.
that's a good point.
So anyway, they then have this balanced power, and all he does is Ronin's in front of him trying to. You can see his facial expression as they're all grabbing the stone, and they come to terms with it. Then he's like, "What the fuck's going on? How are you able to control this?" And then he says, "You say it yourself, with the guardians of the galaxy." Just the way he says it is like fucking. That's
good.
awesome. And then he opens his hand, and this power just erupts on Ronin and tears him to fucking shreds.
Yeah, but really, the reason why Peter Quill was able to hold it
Yes.
is that he's not fully human.
Yes. Which we find out. We do find out later on. But yeah, they lock it up in this little orb, and Yondu said from the beginning he wants that stone when we're all done with it. So he gives him the orb, and they fuck off, get back on the ship. He opens it up, and there's a little troll in. Even though it tells him no troll,
Literally
which is
got
quite good.
trolled, which I thought was a great
Yeah.
thing as well. Like literally trolling him.
I think I might have said that in the cinema actually. They got trolled. I did like that. They found it funny actually. And then Peter Quill's in Nova Corps, being told that he's not fully human, and all their records have been expunged. And they go out and they had a new ship made. They challenge some of the laws, whether they can steal, whether they can murder, which I thought was quite funny again. Like even after everything's happened, they're still basically just the same.
What if somebody does something truly irksome and I wish to remove his spine?
Yeah,
That's still murder.
That's murder. That's the worst of all crimes. And then we're back on the ship, and he wants to know what everyone wants to do, so they fly off. And then there's a little bit where he goes into his little and is this before this bit? It is before this bit. Yes, it is, because the song that plays is on the present. So he goes into his quarters when they get back on the ship, and he reads a letter, which again is just fucking heart-wrenching. He finally opens the gift from his mum that she gave him when he was a kid, and he left her because he's accepted it all. And he opens it, and it's volume 2 of a mixtape, and he sticks it into his tape deck, and it's Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't No Valley Low Enough.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And that's playing, and then they're the little gang at the bit of the ship. But at the bottom of the letter, she calls him his little Star-Lord.
My little Star-Lord, yeah.
Yeah. So the fucking name he's been riding for 26 years has been the name that his mum called it all along.
Yeah, which is just so perfect.
God, what a fucking film this is.
Yeah.
And then they fly off.
Sorry, that was something I wanted to mention as well. I'm fairly sure on his backpack he had a NASA patch. The backpack that he had on Earth and the one that you see in the ship. I think there was like a little NASA patch. So he was probably like really into astronomy or something like that. So
Space nerd kid.
Star-Lord makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, yeah. And then he's asking the bad, something good, bit of both. And then she acknowledges him as the leader and do a bit of both.
Yeah.
Fly off.
What a fucking movie, though. What a movie. It's like the characters, the comedy, the action, the set
It's so
pieces.
quotable as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. What's that one where Drax is like, nothing will go over my head. My reactions are too fast.
Yeah, where he says his folks are literal. And he replies, confirming the statement. Like, nothing will go over my head. My reflexes are far too fast, for I will catch it.
Yeah, there's some like really like dynamite little scenes, like when that dude is gonna kill Gamora, and Drax comes in and saves her. Well, it doesn't really save her, but ends up saving her, and then he's like, "I like this knife. I'm gonna take this knife," and this dude is like, "That was my favorite knife," and then it's over.
Yeah.
It's like just little scenes like that are great.
And the bit where where they're walking through, and I like the vermin and the green whore is right. We need to do this first.
Yeah.
And then seconds later, someone insults Gamora, and he just fucking blows them away with a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Nobody calls my friends that. Nobody speaks to my friend like that. Yeah, it's just great. The chemistry between the group there, I think it matches the chemistry between like the Hulk and Thor and Iron Man and everybody else. I just think that they nailed the characters in this. I mean, the plot is the plot. We're going to go get this powerful thing, keep it out of the hands of the bad guys. Oh, it's in the hands of the bad guys. We have to go get it. oh, now we're these powerful things and we've saved the day. Not the most complex plot, but I think one of Marvel's strengths now is it's character driven. They've got all these fucking brilliant characters, great writers on board, and great directors as well.
It's the cast as well. The cast is all spot on.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I couldn't name anybody else to be Star-Lord now. I mean, I don't know too much about Star-Lord, but he's made the character his own for me.
I love Chris Pratt. I knew him from Parks and Recreation, and then like the transformation he went through for this movie, and like seeing him like shred all that weight, and just
I couldn't believe
Jesus
it.
Christ,
because
the man's body is like, I mean, I'd fuck him.
I do like how there's always a little
Jesus
shirt saying, say yes, this is him.
Every Marvel movie has it. Like literally every movie Thor is in, there is a topless scene. Like it's obviously like part of his contract.
For the topless scenes, it's just like littered throughout it. But I think there's only like one in this, right, where he gets like blasted with the orange shit when he goes into the jail.
Oh yeah, but like there's one in every Thor movie. There's one in every Captain America movie. Yeah. These fuckers always have to have that one topless scene so that your significant other who's in the movie with you just fucking swoons so hard that you regret ever marrying them.
Yeah,
and you get on with things.
But there's the first post credits, Groot that's dancing, and then Drax who's cleaning his blade.
Dancing to
ABC's
Jackson 5,
back, right?
Yeah.
Or ABC, or I
want you back.
Was it? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I want you back. Ooh, baby, I want you back. But do you know who does that mocap?
Good. Yes.
James Gunn himself.
Yeah, I knew that. If you'd let me answer, I would have told you.
Well, you just left the pause at yes. I thought you'd. But yeah,
I thought you were. I was trying to prompt you to ask me.
And then the post credit scene, which is probably some of Marvel's most unsuccessful IP, was Howard the Duck. At the end of probably their most successful IP to date.
I love that though. I love that they threw Howard the Duck in there. It just
why not? Like,
it was so good.
See, I never knew Howard the Duck when I watched that, so I was a bit confused. I had to look it up, see what was going on. But one thing I found is,
that's why it's a post credit scene, right? It's for the people who like really know the universe, because it's like, let's not show this to the general public who will just leave and never look out for anything like this. It's the people who are like, right, let's wait and like let's see what the next post credit is. Those are the people who care the most.
It's the people who know that there are always post credit scenes in an MCU movie. Like, you know,
this all started because Jon Favreau just fancied a bit of a goof in Iron Man, stick something at the
yeah, true,
and it just stuck around ever since.
Yeah.
It's one thing I couldn't find in this film was a really brutal moment, but I guess it must have to go to Groot. Either the fingers up the nose, because that's awful.
Everything that Groot does, like, just fucking
tons of people.
Yeah. So I think just Groot in general is just brutal. I do like as well in the bit where they're doing the second plan, and he goes, "And I need that guy's eye."
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't need that. No, I do. Honestly, I do. I need that. It's just fucking great. Watch this film again. I'm probably going to watch it again because it is just so good.
I think I've seen it maybe like 6 or 7 times at this point.
Carl, you've been very quiet. Do you hate Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, I really like it.
Okay, there's Carl's review, everybody.
Should be on the box, Carl. I really like it. 3 stars.
Carl really likes it.
No, it is good. It's better than what I was expecting.
Yeah, I think that's had to be everyone's opinion.
See, that's the thing though. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was the opposite. I was expecting it to be great.
Here's another little fun fact for you. There's a band called Cherry Bomb in the Howard the Duck film.
That is a fun fact. I had many fun hearing that.
Here's another fun fact for you. It's actually an old friend of mine's favourite film.
Yeah. What old friend is this, Carl?
My mate Steve.
Who drank acid by the pintful.
Maybe he may have done, or may not have done.
Imagine how Howard the Duck would be while you're on acid.
Maybe just like a regular duck.
Maybe just like a regular duck. And on that note, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. I've been your host, Darren. thank you, and good night.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave your comments below. What's your favorite Marvel movie? What was your favorite moment in Guardians of the Galaxy? What celebrities would you like to meet? What would you say to them? Bye.